Raider! Oakland, LA, Oakland, Vegas, Raider Nation, wherever, forever! You got your old Uncle Mosh and Raiders Fan Radio from Murph's Man Cave, taking a lighter journey into the dark side. Sit back, put your feet up, pop a top, and enjoy the ride. Here we go!
Look left, look right, Villapiano, a leaking pass, touchdown!
We miss you, we love you, and we'll see you in the Hall of Fame.
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players, you have a great organization, and you tell them one thing, just win, baby.
Way up the middle, intercepted Villapiano at the 50, time running down, Oakland football, and I think Oakland victory.
The Oakland Raiders have scored on the most zany, unbelievable, absolutely impossible dream of a play. Well, I love this team. I think this team can win. I think this team can win.
What is up, Raider Nation? Welcome back once again to another fantastic episode of Raiders Fan Radio. Welcome to those of you that are joining us on the YouTubes. I see in the chat room there a few of us. I guess it's us. Few of you, few of us. It's Chevy Raider.
There's a few.
There's a few. It's Herman Munster. It's Raider Homer, Chevy Raider, Jason in there. Of course, the one and only Uncle Mosh. Welcome to the show,
Hey.
Uncle Mosh.
Oh my gosh, listen. Ha 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 ha.
Oh, geez.
Not followed by a cough.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Hey, 2 weeks in a row. So Uncle Mosh was kind of playing injured there for the past couple weeks. And so we're glad to have you back and at full strength, Uncle Mosh.
Oh my gosh. So I go to the doc to get a shot in the butt, right?
Oh my gosh.
And I go and the doc goes, "Hey, you need this shot in the butt and you need to take some Mucinex DM." And then they go and they give me the inhaler and they give me all this stuff and I'm like, "Man," and they go, "So how long you been sick?" And they said, I said, "About 6 days." And they go, "Oh, cool. Days 7 through 10 are the worst."
Yeah, you told us that story last week.
I did.
Yeah, when you were high on NyQuil.
Dude. So then they tell me, you can discover this thing called a hot toddy.
Yeah, you told us that story too.
I did.
Yeah.
I tried them cold.
Yeah.
I tried them lukewarm.
Hey, David Northrup joining us live tonight.
No, man, I feel so much better. But let me tell you something.
All right, tell me.
When you're not sick,
Yes.
and you can smell and taste,
Yeah.
Mucinex is nasty
This
stuff.
is nasty
Dude,
stuff.
it got me through, but buddy, when I got my taste back,
man, yeah.
oh,
Not good, huh?
Nastiness.
Well, you sound good. You look good, and thank you for joining us back here, and thank you again for playing injured and fighting through the sickness as you battled it here. And still, Uncle Mosh, the show must go on, man. He's a you're not like Ben Roethlisberger. You're not going to stay on the sideline because you don't know what's wrong with you.
Let me go out 4 series of downs. Man. I came in. Hey, okay, so I might be repeating myself.
Okay,
a little bit. But when I'm old. I would have done that anyway.
Old plus NyQuil equals.
All right, so episode 107, the preseason games.
All right, so thank you for joining us here for episode number 107. Thank you to those of you again in the chat room.
Let me just say this. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but hey, Ron's here.
Hey, Ron. So we can start. So Ron, Jeremy, Sergio, Chevy Raider, Mark, Bobby Wasabi. I mentioned Herman Salvador's in there. A bunch of you all. And thanks for making fun of my sweater. Yes, I am rocking the Raiders' ugly Christmas sweater already.
Hey, there's nothing ugly about a Raider anything, pal.
Oh, man. Come on, Mosh.
That's what I'm screaming
Mosh.
now.
Oh, I love it.
I am drunk on Raiders, not on NyQuil.
All right. Since you are, well, not since you are drunk. This has nothing to do. I don't have a good segue for this next segment, but I got to get to it.
Get into it, bro.
All right. Episode number 107. First off, you've met Uncle Mosh now. He is the the gentleman that adorns
or the mental man.
the gentleman that adorns the Murph's Fan Cave desk on the Southern Annex there. And so thank you to you for joining us, Uncle Mosh. And Uncle Mosh, I thank you for not only just fighting through everything you fought through, but thank you for joining me here every week for doing this thing, Raiders Fan Radio. And Uncle Mosh, it's the giving season.
It is the giving season.
It is the giving season. We mentioned last week, you don't remember this, but last week we talked about how the holiday season kind of starts for us around October for Halloween, and then it goes through until St. Patrick's Day or something.
St. Patty's Day, man.
Yeah. So I got you something.
What'd you get?
I got you something. So show of appreciation here.
Right.
So.
It's a box.
So it's a box. Now look, there's a couple things in here that aren't necessarily the gift, but you'll see what the gift is as you kind of rummage through it. There's
okay.
So let me switch to your camera there.
I'm taking the box.
All right, there you go. All right, there's your camera. All right.
It says on it clearly says to Mosh from Murph.
That's it. Yeah.
So I know it's mine.
Yeah, it's yours.
So all of you in Raiderland, I've opened the tab.
All right, open
and
the tab.
I'm pulling the top up.
Okay.
And as I open the box, I see darkness.
It says tall kitchen bags there because I turned the box inside out, but that's not what you're getting.
And I
there
reach
you go.
in.
Yep, that's it.
And I go, whoa. Okay, so it's on the package. It says Ray-Ban.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So if you can see my existing glasses. I'm a teacher, and people leave things a lot at school, and some woman left these glasses that had rhinestones on them. Well, they're readers, and I've been using the readers for years, so I called them my Al glasses.
Your Al Davis glasses.
And
you've been saying that you wanted the chain. An Al Davis chain, so I got you Al Davis readers and the chain. So now you can rock the Al Davis look when we do Raiders Fan Radio.
So I am now trying to. I got this enormous head.
You got a giant head. I had to get a size 72 chain. I don't know what that means, but it meant a lot.
So I've got now. Yeah. Oh, check it out, dude.
Look at you.
Look at me.
Look at you.
You can't see me in those of you in Radioland, but I am sporting glasses that just fall off of my face. Like this.
Look at. Put them on. Let's see. Put them on. Let's see, Al. Oh, there they are. The Al Davis. Okay, now listen. Now there's a kicker to this.
Okay.
Dig further into the box. Not the flag that I put in there just to kind of hold the thing, but dig around in there. There's 5 pairs of glasses. Okay? Now listen. One of them are sunglasses because if you look at Al, he used to rock the sunglasses with the chain too. So you have a pair. One of those pairs in there is a pair of sunglasses. So you got
readers?
Yeah, they're all readers. They're all readers. They're all readers, all the same strength. I stole the strength off of the other pair. So you got sunglasses that are readers. Because little known fact, here's how in-depth Raiders analysis you get. Look at that.
Oh, dude.
Tell me that's not Al Davis there.
So right
Raider
now, I'm so Al Davising because when you're worth $1 billion, you can wear your glasses that hang from your $2.99 chain around your neck and have your sunglasses on at the same time.
Yes. There you go.
Dude,
pretty slick, huh?
I'm sporting. The sunglasses go right here.
There you go. Okay, so Al Davis, so this is a little known fact. He had custom made Varnays where those glasses. Yes, those were those glasses he wore, and you can't get them. So because I actually did a Murph's black hole on this. I tried to find out what kind of glasses Al wore because that's what I was going to get you. And so you can't get them. But that's the closest thing that I could get was the Al Davis sunglasses and readers there. So yeah.
Oh man, you're the best. Thanks, Murph.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So early Mary, whatever this is, happy 107.
Hey, I got the big birthday coming up though. We'll call this my birthday.
No, we won't because we got other stuff planned for that. But anyways, all right, let's get on to the show. So this is episode. You're welcome. So this is episode number 107 of Raiders Fan Radio, and you can find us as you know here on the YouTubes. Please subscribe to us if you haven't already. That is Murph's Fan Cave. It's not. It's youtube.com/Murph's Fan Cave. Please subscribe to us there. We've become big fans of the live stream, and we enjoy it because of the interaction. Had a cool conversation with our buddy Kevin, the Raider Nerd, this last week. He's actually going to join us here in the Fan Cave this Friday. Kevin and I are gonna record a few things together. And one of the things that he was asking about was doing this live stream, and they're actually going to start doing that on their network. And the reason he cited was because of the interaction with the listeners. And
that's awesome.
So this is great. So if you don't subscribe to us, please do. youtube.com/Murph's Fan Cave. And we are available on all the other podcasts as far as audio goes. And so you can certainly check us out on those. And Uncle Mosh will tell you about where those are so you can find us.
All right, boys and girls, pay attention. You got your old Uncle Mosh here with an update. That's right. I got some stuff for you. Take out a piece of paper, a pencil, a pen. Heck, use your pocket knife and carve the info into your dashboard as you're driving down the highway. First off, you need to like us on our fan page on Facebook. That's right. Go to Facebook at Raiders Fan Radio Podcast. Don't forget about the Twitter. You know your old Uncle Mosh, he twits now. That's right. Go to at Raiders Fan Radio. Also, don't forget the Instagram at Raiders Fan Radio. Or what about our website? That's right, RaidersFanRadio.com. Heck, if you want to, you can even email us, show@RaidersFanRadio.com, or call us on the Raiders Fan Radio hotline, 909-345-3346. That's 909-345-3346. Don't forget Murph's Fan Cave on the YouTube, where you can get all the show links like the Fan Club Blitz with Splatterhead and Fitz. Find all our stuff on podcast providers like Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Play. All right, did I hit the time limit? Good.
All right, so for episode number 107 here on Raiders Fan Radio, as you know, for those of you that listen to the show frequently, you know we always name our episodes after something significant. So as far as 107 goes, that could be a yardage total, it could be a number on a jersey, it could be a year, it could be numerous things. For this year, gosh, man, I'm all over the place. For this episode, and for 107, we are going to go with an overall draft pick, Uncle Mosh.
Ooh.
So
is this the first time we've done that overall?
I think so. So. So we are going with the 107th pick in the 2014 draft, and that it happened to be round 4, and that is the one and only Justin Jelly Ellis, defensive tackle who unfortunately spent a lot of time on the IR this year. He came around, played the last 2 games. Last week he actually had a tackle for loss registered last week. But my favorite play so far that Ellis has had was 2 years ago when we played against the San Diego. Was it 2 years ago? No, it was last year. Against the San Diego Chargers, and he blocked a kick. And not only did he block a kick, Uncle Mosh, he blocked it with his face.
They've missed 9 field goals. That's tied for the most.
Ooh is right. Nick Rose picked up and recovered at the other end by McGill on the block by the 29-yard line of the Chargers. Season.
Watch how low this one is.
Oh, my goodness. Blocked again.
It hits him in the face mask. I think that hits Justin Ellis.
Hits him square in the face, man.
Right in the face, man.
Good job, Jelly. Hey, we'll take it, man. We'll take it. If you got to block it with your face, block it with your face.
You got to do what you got to do.
That's exactly right. So we want to celebrate the big man and number 78, and hopefully he will have a healthy year under his belt. Heck, finish off the rest of this year healthy, and then a healthy year next year as we, we got a lot of depth at defensive tackle nowadays, Uncle Mosh, which is something we haven't had for a long, long time, and he's definitely a key part of it. So we want to celebrate the big man here today for episode number 107 of Raiders Fan Radio. All right, Uncle Mosh, every week we give respect. We don't do props. We don't do shout-outs. We give respect.
No.
We give respect. And so we want to give
And you know why we give respect?
Tell us why we give respect.
Because respect is earned. It's not demanded. It's not paid for. It's not bought. Hey, it's earned.
It's earned. Absolutely. And so, I would be remiss, Uncle Mosh, if today I didn't give respect first and foremost to somebody that was born on this day. This is December 12th, and in 1915, so that's 103 years ago.
Wow.
This man was born. You know what I'm talking about?
I could probably guess. I don't want to drop names, but Frank Sinatra told me one time, don't ever forget my birthday.
Oh, as I crashed the book.
Yeah. That's all right. Leave it there. Yeah, put him up. Yeah. Frank Sinatra, man.
Frank Sinatra, yeah, chairman of the board, old Blue Eyes today, 103 years old, and so we want to celebrate and give him respect.
Absolutely.
So, but in terms of the Raiders, Uncle Mosh, we have a handful of folks that we want to give respect to. We had a lot of correspondence this week. Let me give you the show rundown real fast. We're going to, after the Give Respect segment, we're going to do. We're going to talk a little bit about Phil and Franco. We're going to talk about an interview we have coming up this week with Phil Villapiano's daughter, Andrea Villapiano Kelly. We're going to talk about the Oakland lawsuit that's come up this week, and then we got a lot of Sea of fans. Well, not only do we have a lot of Sea of fans and a lot of correspondence there, but we also got a lot of videos and pictures sent to us this week. And I want to give respect to the RFR listeners that not only were at the game this week, but also shared their experiences back with us and really created their own experiences on their own, separate of our show. And it's so cool, man, that guys like Aaron the Q-Dog Raider, Mojo Raider, that these guys that were meeting up on their own and, not only representing Raiders Fan Radio, which is amazing, but like hanging out, like the fact that our internet podcast helped other Raiders fans meet up.
I know, right?
And like that is the coolest thing freaking ever to me. I love it.
So awesome. I was telling guys at work about that. I'm like, our fans who would have, the same fans would have been in the stands anyway, but now had this common thing that Raider fans are meeting up in Oakland because of the silly little podcast that we do out of Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, that's nuts. It's really, really cool.
Is just so cool.
So let's definitely give those guys respect. Let's start off. First, Aaron the Q-Dog Raider called us from the Black Hole.
Greetings, Aaron the Q-Dog Raider calling from the Black Hole. We have problems as a nation. The Steelers ain't fun. Listen. Damn right, homie. Just win, baby.
Great stuff there from Aaron the Q-Dog Raider. So, of course, the big play of the game was Derek Carrier's touchdown late in the game to put the Raiders ahead for good. And Uncle Mosh, the broadcast of that play sounded like this.
It is a touchdown to Derek Carrier. Touchdown in 3.5 years until the last 2 weeks. Carrier had a grand total of 5 catches all year long, and this is his first touchdown.
Out and in.
All right, so there you go. So there's a Derek Carrier touch. So you can hear the roar of the crowd was immense, right? And it's so fun to hear that come through the screen when you're watching it, but it's even better when you have people send you videos of them at the game itself. So this first one comes from, this is on the home side, so this is behind the Raiders bench. This comes from a friend of the show, Alon Bush.
Come on, Raiders! It's do or die, baby! It's do or die! We gotta get it! We gotta get it! I say we get it!
Isn't that the best?
You know, that screaming we might need to put that in. Like,
I might add something. Absolutely. That was amazing. And there's more. Okay, so here we go. So this is from the Black Hole. This is from this comes to us from Run ADZ, Run Ads, I guess. So let's hear him. Isn't that awesome, man?
That's great.
It's so fun. I love this stuff, man.
It gives me chills.
This is the best. Okay, so I got two more for you. This comes from Mark Caboli. I think he's some sort of an employee, actually, from the Steelers. So this is from the Steelers side of the field down on about the 10-yard line. This is actually on the field with his cell phone. Already loud. Yes. Listen to this. Tell me again how you're better football fans in Raider Nation. Go ahead. Somebody tell me again.
Holy mackerel.
Isn't that amazing?
God, that's from the 10-yard line.
From like the 10-yard line on the Steelers side of the ball. From his cell phone. All right, I got one more I got two more. So here is, this is from the Black Hole. This is when we blocked the field goal. This comes courtesy of Ludwig von Kupa. All right, I just love these. Are the best, man. All right, last one I got for you. This came to us from our buddy Jay Morse. Jay is, I don't know if he's the president or the founder or whatever. He's the guy in terms of the Salt City Silver and Black Raiders Booster Club.
Okay.
This is the club that's in Syracuse, New York.
Right.
And they get together at their local bar there, and they all watch the game. And so he took a video of this, and this is all of them right before the final block kick. I love that, man. That's 3,000 miles away. And don't you, that's
just great.
It's the best. It's the best. Raider Nation rules. So anyways, thanks to all of you that sent in your videos and your pictures and all the things that went on around the game this last week. We are humbled that you would represent not only our show, but be willing to share your experiences back with us. Super, super cool. So thank you to those of you, and much, much respect for all of you that did that. And last off, Uncle Mosh, to close this segment out, let's listen to what it sounded like inside the locker room after the big win.
Hey, there's no quitting in this football team, is there? You love adversity, all right? You love football, you love each other, and you're going to bring the Raiders back. God bless you. Give yourself some. What you have done, in spite of me, I congratulate you, Dirk. I cannot tip my hat to the offensive line enough. Yes, sir. Feliciano, Gabe Jackson, they finished on one leg. Yes. All right? I mean, we're light, we're short-handed in some ways, but we believe in each other. We beat a hell of a football team. You guys could have won a hell of a game last week. Let's just finish strong. Let's stay together. But I can't tell you how proud I am of you, sir, and how great the future is going to be. God bless you all. Let's pray.
You're listening to The Violator, and I'm live on Raiders Fan Radio. Where you at, baby?
Hey, so Murph.
Yeah, as per usual.
It's okay, buddy. It's all right, Hey, I got to tell you one thing, though. What's really funny, Ron, of course, Ron's great.
Ron's great.
We don't usually start the show without him.
No.
He had a really good, and it was kind of a PSA, public service announcement. He pretty much said that the Steeler fans, they weren't that upset after the loss. And the reason that the Steeler fans weren't that upset after the loss, even though they paid thousands of dollars for tickets, was that most of them kept the tags on all those brand new towels and jerseys that they bought. So it was an easy return.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, homers.
Oh, my gosh. That's funny. That's awesome. Good job, Ron. So much I accidentally crossed off one of the next things there on the list. I wanted to ask you, as big as this win was, this past week on Mondays with Mikey and Murph, we were talking about how we thought the Raiders were going to close out the season and what this could lead to. And, with a beat up and not all that great to begin with Bengals team, a beat up, not all that great to begin with Broncos team, coming up with the next two, is it possible we could be, or am I just going nuts here? We could be on a 3-game winning streak going in to play the freaking Chiefs in Kansas City. Like, I don't know, Mosh. What do you think, man? That could be set up to be like a pretty good finish considering how this year's gone so far, no?
Look, our guys bought in the summer. They bought in to the new regime, and we've been coaching them up. They've been getting coached up, and it's starting to pay off. It's paying off a little later than we liked, but it's paying off. We talked after the Kansas City loss. We talked about, and I drew the scenario, which locker room would you have rather been in? Would you have rather been in the Raiders locker room where we played our hearts out through 4 quarters? Or would you have rather been in the Kansas City locker room where they squeaked by?
Right.
Yeah. And then it held over to this week. This was like a freaking Super Bowl win.
It was pretty
This
big
was
deal.
amazing. This was huge.
Yeah.
This was huge. And I listened to Mondays with Mikey and Murph.
Yeah.
Okay. I listened to it on Tuesday on the way to work and on the way home. And you made the call. You made the prediction. You said, and
I might have.
There's no might haves. There's might.
I might have stepped out a little bit on that. I might have let my fandom get a hold of me a little bit.
You fanboyed, and it's okay.
Well,
hey,
I'm Raider drunk.
You're Raider drunk, man, and I loved it. I was like, hey, I'm there. Because I'm always Raider drunk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or drunk one way or the other. But yeah, man.
Yeah,
I'm in.
Well, Raider Nation. It's been a long season, but I think that, look, obviously you want playoffs, you want something to root for when it comes to January and whatnot, but considering where we've gone through this year and considering the level of criticism and the level of hatred and the levels of just, perceived and even manufactured at times dysfunction, because it really wasn't ever there. The only dysfunction was in the media. It was never, or amongst us fans. Like, it never was in the walls of Alameda. So kudos to them for maintaining the course, and I think we got a lot to look forward to here as we close out this season.
Hey, this is Pete Koch, former Los Angeles Raider. Yeah, back in the old days, baby. And you're listening to Murph and Uncle Mosh, who happens to have the same hair as me. Check it out, Raiders Fan Radio.
All right, Uncle Mosh, something that really cool. Speaking of Pete Koch, Raider legend and acting legend, man, Phil Villapiano he's always been one of our favorites, right? And we've always liked Phil just because of the way that he was a hard-hitting defender that set the tone for the Raiders in their first Super Bowl victory and really helped set the tone like a lot of guys did on that defense, and really helped define the legacy of the Raiders defense of the 70s and really the Raiders teams of the 70s. There were so many, the cast of characters was great, and Phil was one of the guys, man. He was amazing. And, growing up in an Italian household like
Absolutely.
we were, a guy's got a last name Villapiano.
Yeah.
You're like, all right.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what I mean?
And I got to say this, kids, muffs, Phil was a badass. Sorry. Yeah.
So says it on the book. Look what it's titled right here. The title of the book is Badasses, and it says The Legend of Snake, Fu, Dr. Death, and John Madden's Oakland Raiders. And that's not that's true.
That ain't bragging, dude. That's a fact.
Absolutely.
That's the way it was. You don't get the moniker the most penalized team in all of professional sports for nothing.
That's right. And win championships while you're doing it.
And win championships while you're
so,
at it. Yeah.
Anyway, not only did we love Phil from his playing career and what he achieved on the field, but since he's been retired and he's been off the field, he is one of the more gregarious, fun storytellers to be in not only just Raider Nation, but in sports. He's freaking fun to listen to. Like, it's fun to, I've never been around him. We've had the good fortune of interviewing him for our show. Sure. But he's the kind of guy that you want to hang out and have a beer with. Like,
he's an ambassador for the team.
Absolutely.
He's an ambassador for the nation. He's an ambassador for everything that we as the Raider Nation family put out there, man. He's bought in. He is the epitome of Raider drunk.
Yes.
Yes.
So Phil is, you mentioned him being an ambassador, right? So an ambassador is what? It's a liaison. It's a person that you represent your thing and you represent it to others, and then you bring them to you, right?
Exactly.
To create closeness or awareness or whatever have it. So nothing says ambassador more than to bring one of the most hated players on an opposing rival into your fold, right? So Phil this week at the Steelers game brought Franco to Oakland. And when I say Franco, I mean Franco Harris. So the guy that, quote, caught the ball, well, we all know it hit the ground after it bounced off Frenchie Fuqua in the Immaculate Deception. But Franco, quote, caught the ball, the guy that caught the ball. Well, Phil reached out to Phil and Franco are buddies, okay?
Always have been.
And always have been for a long time. And so Franco told Phil one of the things on his bucket list was to go be part of the Raider Nation, be part of the black hole, to be around Oakland one time to see it from the other side before the team parted away. Before it goes parted away. So Phil grabs him and brings him to Oakland, and here's a little bit of audio of what it sounded like.
Wow, Phil, I can't believe you pulled this off. I mean, be part of the black hole? Oh my God.
We got him inducted into the black hole this morning.
Did you really? Remember the black hole?
He was so proud.
Phil, how you doing? My pleasure.
Linebacker for the Raiders back in
Pleasure. How you doing, man?
Doing great.
Look who we got.
We've had a lot of great games here, won some, lost some, a lot of great memories, great players on both sides of the ball. So just have a lot of great respect for the team.
A great competitor. We love to play these guys. I mean, everybody, that was the greatest game of all. I couldn't wait to get in there and tackle a Steeler because of him.
Once again, to come here and experience this. Thank you, guys. I mean, this is what it's all about. Great competition, great competitive spirit. But in the end, we all come together.
There's been some amazing rivals that have been friends throughout sports history. Joe Louis and Max Schmeling. It goes on. Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson did some charity work.
Right.
I mean, there's just been so many of them. Even in the political realm with late President Bush and Bill Clinton became good friends. This is cool. I mean, Phil Villapiano and Franco Harris. I mean, it's not Apollo Creed and Rocky, but hey, it's close, bro. It's close.
It's pretty freaking close, man.
That's awesome. You know, and as much as my hatred for Franco Harris runs deep, if Fu says he's okay, Hey, he's okay.
Hey,
he still dropped the damn ball, but he's okay.
Hey, if he's a friend of ours, he's a friend of ours, right? Hey, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. So he can call 3 times to be a made man.
That's exactly right. So knowing all this happened, I reached out to someone that we got in touch with last year when we had Phil on the show, and that was his daughter, Andrea. Andrea is another great representative of Raider Nation. Their entire family, as you would expect, are diehard Raider fans, and not only do they have a connection with their dad and the things that he's done for the Raiders, but also she's become friends with a famous actor, Will Forte of Saturday Night Live.
Sure.
And part of this event that this weekend was inducting Franco and Will Forte in as honorary members of the Black Hole.
Yeah.
Yes, that Black Hole. Yes, that Franco Harris. And Will Forte was part of it as well. So they had all these cool things, all these great interactions and stories that went on around the weekend. So I reached out to Andrea and I said, hey, would you like to come on the show and tell us about the weekend? And so she agreed. And so she joins us here on Raiders Fan Radio. For those of you that are on the YouTubes, you're not going to hear it because we recorded the interview yesterday. So you'll have to go and listen to the audio podcast to hear that. For those of you on the audio podcast, here, let's listen to the interview.
It's definitely worth it. It is such a good interview.
So
it's
worth
one
it.
of our best.
One of our best. It's great. So let's listen to that interview with Andrea Villapiano Kelly. All right, Raider Nation, I'm excited to welcome our next guest to Raiders Fan Radio. She is the daughter of Raiders legend Phil Villapiano. Phil, of course, is the hard-hitting linebacker that helped define the Renegade Raiders of the 1970s and since has emerged as one of the best storytellers, one of the most gregarious personalities you'll find in Raider Nation, and is certainly beloved by all of us Raider fans. Our guest really has done an awesome job with being an ambassador to Raider Nation and really helping with also an initiative of getting Phil recognized and help pushing toward his hopefully one day Hall of Fame nomination. So we are excited to welcome to Raiders Fan Radio, Andrea Villapiano Kelly. Welcome, Andrea.
Hello, Raider Nation. Thank you for having me, Murph. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm excited to talk to you. We've been in touch over the past year or so, back to when we had your dad on our show back in January around Super Bowl time, and of course had a great time getting to talk to him. And I tried not to fanboy out during our interview because your dad was such a big name around our house, being Raider fans, and of course being of Sicilian and Italian descent. Like, he was the guy. My uncles were like, "Hey, Villapiano," everybody loves that guy.
I love it.
But I want to ask you about, before we get into kind of the Raiders stuff, in particular the events that happened over this weekend, let's hear a little bit about what it was like for you. What was it like growing up for you with a dad that was this Raider legend?
Okay, so it's one of those, simply put, I did not appreciate it until I got older. I didn't understand it. I was just kind of, I guess, used to my dad's wacky ways. When I said I didn't appreciate it, I was kind of remembering being that either teenage girl or be like, "Dad, why are you so loud?" I didn't get his fun, huge personality at the time. And at the time I was, a girl just embarrassed, like, "Dad, you're so loud. Why do you have to talk to, everyone at this restaurant?" I didn't get it. I knew obviously that he played football. I remember living in Buffalo. I was born out in California. And then I remember living in Buffalo. We came home to New Jersey in the off seasons. I remember seeing trophies around the house that now I realize what they are, like the Super Bowl trophy, stuff like that. So I do have to admit I should have appreciated more growing up. But at the time, my dad was very cool about it. He wasn't, believe it or not, he was very mellow back home and was under the radar about it. It's something that I just totally absolutely love and appreciate now. I'm so proud of him. And that's also why I kind of got all these crazy, wacky, whether it's social media or this Hall of Fame thing going, because it's more me. I'm just pumped, I just told him, "Dad, this is what we're doing." He goes, "All right."
So
he's as laid back as they come.
How aware of you mentioned that you lived in Buffalo for a while, and your dad did play some years in Buffalo, but obviously most notably as a member of the Raiders. How aware of you were, or how aware of Raider Nation and the Raiders were you? When did you kind of embrace and kind of get to the point where you were considered yourself a Raider fan and like part of Raider Nation and all that? When did that kind of click for you?
I knew I was Raider Nation from the beginning. I'm just saying more personality-wise, I didn't get it. Like, I didn't know this big personality that, my dad with the stories, like he's known as the voice of the Raiders. Like, that's what he's been called now. The storytelling is out of control. That's also one of his terms, out of control. As you may have heard some other terms that he's used in the media lately to describe ex-Raider, but, punk and chump, like these were all words that he just uses on a normal basis. And, out of control is another one. But, it's been Raiders from the beginning. I mean, I grew up thinking that the logo, I thought the Raider face was my dad. Like, he had us believing. Nice. He's like, oh, Andy, that's me. And I just went with it. I thought that was so cool. And I also have two younger brothers. So, I mean, they were, as hardcore as it goes, too. So, I mean, it's in my blood.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you brought that up about the interview that your dad gave recently, and he called out a former Raider, and what was so cool about that, and what I like so much about the way that your dad approaches this stuff is that obviously he's not a fan, he's a freaking Raider legend, but he says what a lot of us fans are thinking. And I just love that he's not shy to share truth. Right. You know what I mean? And so much today, especially in sports landscape media, there's all these crazy things that get floated out there. To have somebody that's as grounded and as real as your dad is so refreshing. It's such a cool thing.
Yeah, I mean, if I have to say anything, I've heard mostly all positive about this just because, like you said, he's been saying what so many people are thinking. And don't get me wrong, because I even talked to him after the interview and the next day. He is a Cooper fan. Like, he liked him at Bama and all that. And when he started with the Raiders, I just think it was, now you're kind of running your mouth. Well, then here's my dad who's earned his time to run his mouth, and kind of like, don't bite the hand that fed you kind of thing.
Absolutely.
There's a way of, go to Dallas, enjoy yourself. But, I mean, you don't have to sit there and speak negatively upon your past team or anything like that. It just... but then again, you ask Dad his opinion, he's going to give it to you, and that's purely it. It's his opinion, and the words he used, like I said, chump may have been my first word. Like, I don't even know. Like, I mean, that's just in our everyday vocabulary, so it wasn't as mean as... I was pretty impressed. That was pretty tame for Dad, so...
Didn't have to bleep anything, right?
Well, you know how it is. I mean, people want to hear him talk and tell stories, and I think it's entertaining. And, like I said, he does like Amari Cooper. I just think, hold your comments back, Mr. Cooper. And
absolutely.
Absolutely. Stuff like that. But it went over well. I had fun with it. And, hey, led into a perfect weekend this weekend. So.
There you go. Well, and I want to ask you a lot about that weekend. Before I do, I want to touch a little bit on the Hall of Fame. Last year, you had a great initiative with kind of spearheading the effort to get your dad, at a minimum, recognized as a candidate, and I think that it really got the attention of a lot of folks in the media, outside of, obviously guys like me and guys like on our show. We're all in for your dad to be in the Hall of Fame anyways, because we're diehard Raider fans and we remember him and what he accomplished on the field. But I think even it went past that. It even went with your efforts on social media. I think it even went past that and really got the attention of a lot of different folks. And so how is that? What are your plans for that, and what are your next steps? We know you have a Facebook group out there and things like, what can we share, and what do you got planned for that?
Well, let me start by saying this. It was last Father's Day. Dad comes over. I think I mentioned something about Hall of Fame, and he laughed at me. He's like, Andy, it's all politics. I made it, I was a candidate years ago, or maybe like 12 years ago. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that his name was even in the running, but so that was true. And he just kind of laughed. He's like, Andy, it's all politics. There's a bunch of my buddies should be in there. Like, we all know that. That's a given. There's so many Raiders that should be in. There's obviously a little Raider bias from back in the day. Personally, I feel like this voting system should be upgraded than than just some sports writers having the final say. But anyway, I just remember saying to him, Dad, you have nothing to lose. And then that's what got him. He's like, all right, have fun with it. So then I went on Facebook. My dad is social media clueless, so he doesn't know anything. But now he's catching on, so he'll check in with me. But I did start this Facebook page called Phil Villapiano Foo for Hall of Fame. And, I mean, it's picked up. The nicest fans are on there. It's just a good thing. I share all these pictures, whether they be online or I found a bunch at Dad's house that haven't been seen before. And just everyone has just been totally supportive and awesome. And, we have some former teammates on there, too. And then I entered the Twittersphere, or whatever you want to call it. I started Twitter, which I was like, I'm into social media, but, like, I just joined that, I think, in August or something like that. And it's Villapiano is the name. And I just went on with that. And everyone's been amazing, too. So that's snowballed a little bit, and it's been fun. And it's cool to follow some other people out there. I did connect my bucket list before Hall of Fame was to connect my dad and Tom Hanks. I don't know if you've heard that.
Yeah, because Tom Hanks used your name. Let's talk about that. They used your last name in the movie That Thing You Do. It's Villapiano's Pizzeria, right?
Yes, they named it. So I remember seeing that movie. This was all around the same time. I watched that movie. I'm like, Villapianos. I'm like, well, if there's a Villapiano in our family, because it's not really your common name that's out there. And also around the same time, there's a documentary called The Rebels of Oakland, and it was about the Raiders of the 70s and the Oakland A's at the time. So it's my dad, Stabler, and Tom Hanks doing commentary. And I'm like, what? Like, that's when I first learned that Tom Hanks was a Raider fan, let alone a fan of my dad's. So I started putting it all together. Cut to, like, years later, I'm just like, I have to connect these two somehow. I'm like, I've seen interviews where he mentions my dad. I'm like, I just have to do this. So cut to, I send some wacky, crazy, big, obnoxious envelope to what I think is his production company. And I'd say a month, maybe later, I did this over the summer. And then September, I received a letter back from Playtone and freaking out. And it was a typed out, he uses his typewriter, and he said, it is true. I use Villapiano, blah, 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 and he mentioned the snake and everybody. So,
wow.
I mean, it was so cool. I was so pumped, and I don't even know. I feel like Dad right now, off on a tangent. Sorry, I got excited. So, I mean, that also, from social media, that's where that got started. So I just kind of went on a mission. I'm like, I'm just going to make that happen. And so I did, and I'm pumped. So
that is so cool.
Can I tell you my next bucket list?
Please.
Can I tell you my next bucket list?
Absolutely.
Well, this happened this weekend. So I get down on the field, not to jump to this weekend, but I go down on the field with Dad for warm-ups, and I see Lester Hayes. I love Lester. I saw Mark Davis. The whole Gruden, the whole crew, who are just amazing. And I'm standing on the sideline, kind of like zoned out, like taking it all in. And I just look straight up the 50-yard line right in the middle. And I'm literally parallel to Derek Carr. And I'm like, I'm reenacting it now. But in my head, I just kind of like raise my hand and do like a little wave. And I'm pretty sure he waved back. And that made my weekend. So I'm on a new mission to get in touch with him somehow. I don't know. I already tweeted. I said, Derek, I'm that random girl that just waved to you. I swear he saw me. But I'm like, I'm that girl whose dad was bringing Franco around the black hole like, a crazy person. But I don't know. I mean, my son is a huge fan. Like, I mean, it's so cool. But that's just my new mission I started about an hour ago.
Well, I'm gonna bet that you're gonna be successful in that mission. I got a feeling you know the right people to get in touch with to be able to make that happen.
That's so funny.
Well, so let's go ahead and jump to it though. You mentioned about the weekend, so you put out a picture that I mentioned when we interviewed your dad. I tried not to fanboy out. And I saw this picture that you put up, and talk about activating the fanboy in me. It was Reggie McKenzie, Lester Hayes, Mark Davis, Reggie Jackson, Franco, and your dad. And I'm like, what in the world? I'm like, this is awesome, man. So tell us a little bit about what it was like. Tell us about it's your dad and it's Franco, and they're together and they're hanging out at the Coliseum. So tell us what's going on around all this.
Okay, so Dad told us that it's on Franco's bucket list to be a spectator at Oakland Coliseum before it's no more. So my dad said, of course, I'm going to escort you around. I'm also going to get you inducted into the Black Hole Hall of Fame, which is an awesome tailgate, the Black Hole. Everyone knows the Black Hole. But I guess, Franco brought Dad out to a Steelers game a while ago. And Dad I have a video of this at the induction the other day about how the Steeler fans just let him have it. It was great. Dad loved it, eat it up. So he said, we have to induct you. And our friend Will Forte from Saturday Night Live is also part of Raider Nation. And he's saying, no mercy, let Franco have it, blah, blah, blah. Like, it was an amazing experience. Franco was such a trooper. Like, he just had an awesome smile on the whole time. His wife was there. She's wonderful. It was so cool. So Will and Franco became official members of Raider Nation. And then we headed into the game. We met up with JT the Brick and just went around. Dad brought him around to the actual Black Hole. And, we saw the Violet and Gorilla Rilla and, everybody. It was so cool. So it was just a very neat experience that I'm very proud to have shared with my dad. So it was cool. That was a reunion of all reunions, So, and the fans, Raider Nation, it was so funny. I mean, they were really wonderful, and they were wacky at the same time. That's another word Dad uses, wacky. But, it was perfect. So, very cool.
So what's the fan? Oh, okay. So, I mean, I'm just picturing, being there, and I see your dad. And so I'm excited. Yeah, Phil, Foo. And then I see Franco, and I'll be like, Franco? What are the fans saying when they're seeing these guys together?
They're saying, the ball was dropped and all this. Dad was definitely clipped and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm telling you, he had the smile on his whole time. And I mean, there were fans that were trying to, make him admit it. Did he admit it yet? Did he admit it? So it was just so cool. That's one of those crazy moments that, don't get to happen all the time. But, I mean, Dad and Franco have been buddies since day one, honestly. They keep in touch. Franco taunts my dad every year on the anniversary, what were you doing on this day kind of thing. I know Franco came to town. Dad had me blow up this picture and make tons of copies of Dad tackling Franco on the ground and had to put it in everyone's plate at the luncheon. It's awesome. So
that is great. Well, the Raiders Steelers is such just a historic rivalry, and for your dad and Franco, I mean, no one epitomizes that rivalry better than those two guys, and the idea that they have such a good sense of humor about it and are good sports about it. That's awesome. You know what I mean? Because it's such a heated rivalry, and that's great. So tell us a little bit about the Will Forte thing. So, because I heard Will Forte on the Rich Eisen show over the summer talking about you all. Seemed like I've become friends with the Villapiano family. Tell us a little bit about how all that went down.
Okay, so that started back in 2011, around November 2011. I had a college friend write me, hey, I just heard Will Forte do a podcast and mentioned being a Raider fan, and they were talking about your dad. So I, with my social media-ness, if you want to make that as a word, that's another thing, we just make words up. I message him, and he writes back. And I was like, I told this to Dad, and meanwhile, we planned to go to the game in December. I think that was against the Lions back then. And Dad's like, invite him, see if he wants to come, whatever. Cut to, he comes. So we plan to meet out. He brings his mom, his brother-in-law, everyone's amazing. And we've been friends and keep in touch ever since then. So we went again last year to the Giants game out in Oakland. And then they met us up again this year. So we've just been buddies, and he's been great. And, I mean, everyone loves seeing him. Last year he had his huge beard from when he was doing Last Man on Earth, the show on Fox. So, I mean, it's been awesome,
That's great.
We have very, very cool fans.
That's great. So he got inducted into the Black Hole Hall of Fame. Is that it? Okay.
He did. He and Franco. I have some sweet videos of that and pictures, and it's just out of control. Like, that's just how our fan base works. It's the best around, you know?
Awesome stuff. Good deal. Well, Andrea, I can't thank you enough for spending some time with us and sharing some stories. We always like to ask our guests for a message to Raider Nation before we let them go. And also we want to promote not only the Foo for Hall of Fame Facebook page, but also your Twitter handle. Is it Villapiano K? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so
Villapiano, okay. Yep.
I always say piano. It's piano, isn't it? Like the instrument.
Villapiano.
Villapiano. I'm sorry. So Villapiano. Okay, so look for Andrea on Twitter and then the Facebook and follow her there and support her initiative to get her dad in the Hall of Fame. And then if you got a message for Raider Nation, we would love to hear it.
I do. Raider Nation, I personally want to thank you on behalf of my dad for you guys being so freaking cool and just always giving a laugh with my dad, knowing it's always kind-hearted. Sometimes he has no clue what he's saying, just like, I guess that's where I get it from. But he's the best. I've never seen someone more committed and dedicated to the Raider way, and he's so proud of the organization. I don't think he ever really says anything negative. He just loves it with all of his heart, and our whole family couldn't be more thankful. So we thank you guys, and thanks for always laughing and following my dad along. It's been awesome.
Absolutely. Well, you're great. We appreciate your fandom. We appreciate your time spent with us here. Appreciate you sharing those stories with us, and we'll look forward to seeing where this Hall of Fame thing goes. Okay. And definitely keep it. It's great for us as fans to see stuff like this because it gives us an insight, to that. And so we really do appreciate you sharing all that back with us. So thank you very much.
You know what? I'd like to add that I want Raider Nation to just keep it positive because some plan is in the works with all this, transformation going on. And I do believe in Gruden, and I believe that, if you're just going to hate on every single move that's going, then there's 31 other teams out there, the true fans. I understand people get upset. I get upset too, but I do believe in my heart that we're on our way back and it will happen. So just, keep it positive.
All right, there we go. There's our interview with Andrea Villapiano Kelly. Uncle Mosh, she's a great storyteller too, huh? You can tell.
Oh my gosh, that apple didn't fall far from the tree, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. So I love the the overall stories are great, and I love how she's such a fan. Like, to hear her kind of fangirl out about Derek Carr, I'm like, that was so cool. Like, I would just expected this would be like, oh, just kind of you get used to it because your dad's a Raider legend and because you've been around it your whole life. You just you would think that you would just kind of become used to that stuff. Sure. But to hear that, like, she had like a moment where she's like, oh my gosh, there's Derek Carr. That was so cool, man. I love that.
I love the story that she mentioned about Wilson's old partner. That guy. That name that won't be named. But hey,
but she had a great story about him.
But I'm softening there a little bit.
Wow, are you really?
We can't go into that.
We won't get into the details about that actor, but yeah, that was, I thought that was pretty funny that she brought him up, and she's not aware of what we had with
the
Tom
issues
Hanks,
that we had there.
Yeah. But that was a great interview. So thank you again to Andrea. Thank you for taking time for us here on Raiders Fan Radio. We've had a really good time getting to talk to you and to your dad as well, and appreciate you kind of bringing us into that fold. And as I mentioned to her, it's so cool for us to be able to talk to people like that because it gives us fans kind of an insight into those things that you don't get from watching ESPN or the NFL Network even or whatever. You know what I mean? And so it's cool to hear those stories and to hear those things. So thank you very much to Andrea for joining us here on Raiders Fan Radio.
Nobody enjoyed a good Donnybrook more than sixth-year linebacker Phil Villapiano.
Linebacker, number 41, Phil Villapiano.
This is Phil Villapiano, and you're listening to Raiders Fan Radio.
We need a producer, Uncle Mosh. Uncle Mosh is sitting here looking at each other. For those of you on the YouTubes, I'm sure you can see it. We're sitting staring at each other going, I go, you go. You go, I go. Who's button?
We got 87,000 buttons here, and neither of us is willing to push one.
Hey, and I got to tell you too, Mosh, this has been a crazy week. So I made a couple of notes here before we get into this next segment. There's so much to do and talk about this week. We're not going to get to it all. Look, we would be here for 4 hours if we tried to get a comprehensive show to cover everything, because not only did we beat the Steelers, not only did they induct Franco and Will Forte into the Black Hole Hall of Fame, Reggie McKenzie got fired, Oakland sues the Raiders, we've got our last home game now coming up, we don't know where we're going to play next, and today they announced Las Vegas is the 2020 NFL Draft.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the crap, man? I'm like we got jobs, man. Like we got, you know what I mean? Like at some point, I gotta go to work.
I gotta work.
I can't just do Raiders fan radio all day long every day. It's crazy, man. It's just crazy. So we gotta remember these times in like June when it really is you and I sitting around looking at each other going, I don't know what you want to talk about next. You want to bring up some old Gruden highlights from 2001 again? Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
I know. So it's just crazy. The amount of news that's flowing out there for Raiders is just insane. All right, so I mentioned one of those big things was the now lawsuit that's been filed against the Raiders by the city of Oakland. Now, this is filed by the city against not only the Raiders, but all 32 teams in the NFL.
Good luck with that.
Good luck with that. And, you know, Uncle Mosh, I'm ready to go 30. I'm ready to go 30 with the city of Oakland. Do you know what going 30 is?
No. Is that like going to the mattresses?
I don't like maybe I don't know. Okay, so my son, my oldest son, your great was it great grandnephew?
He's my grandnephew.
Great grandnephew, right? Named after you. We're in the kitchen and I'm getting fired up about something because that's what I do. I talk with my hands and I get fired up. So I'm all fired up about something and he goes, "Dang, Dad, you just went 30 on that." I forget what it was. He goes, "Dang, you just went 30 on that," and I go, "Went 30?" I go, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "You don't know what going 30 is?"
No.
And I go, "No." I go, "What is that?" He goes, "Well, it's at school." He goes, "You know, if like you got like a little bit of a beef or something with somebody," he goes, "you just ask them if they want to go 30." And I go, "What are you talking?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "You step in the bathroom and you go at each other. You go for 30 seconds." And he goes, "And then it's over and then you're done." And I go, "Like you fight?" And he goes, "It's kind of like play fight." And he goes, "But yeah." He goes, "You just go in there and hit each other for 30 seconds and then it's over. And then you just go on about your day." And I'm like, "That's amazing." I'm like, "You just go for 30.
But see, growing up in an Italian household, we just called that dinner. You know, you got to remember, my mom had 4 kids, right? I had a single ma. My mom was a widow, and she had 4 kids. But my ma, there was 5 of us at the dinner table.
Yeah.
My ma, just to piss everybody off, would only make 9 pieces of chicken. So somebody only got 1. And people wonder why they're like, "Coach Mosh, why do you eat so fast?" "Because I want that second piece of chicken. I'm only going to chop it once to make sure it's dead, and then I'm swallowing." Right? I don't even care what it tastes like, but I got 2. You only got 1. So there was a lot of go 30s. It was full contact fried chicken at our house. I know what go 30.
All right.
So
that's what the high school kids are calling it now. So they're going 30. I love it. I thought it was great. So you go 30. All right. So I'm going to go 30 on the city of Oakland here.
Yeah, go.
All right. I got a problem.
Yeah, it's me.
Well, no. You share the extra piece of chicken with me.
There you go.
I got a problem with class action lawyers. I got a problem with third-party lawyers.
I'm with you. I hate
come in
tort attorneys, man.
This is not the city of Oakland. They've hired 2 outside firms that are going to now sue the NFL. These firms have made a career out of suing big business.
Yep.
The lady that's the city attorney now for Oakland, she has made a living on suing big business. I'm not even that necessarily opposed to suing big business because people like Monsanto or some of the scummiest companies in the world.
Sure.
I get it. But the NFL is not Monsanto. So what are we doing here? And the whole idea that they're trying to take down IP, intellectual property, which we have been on the wrong end of because someone tried to come after us because of what we created. You come after my created content. If you come after the logo that my dad created and you want to sue me for it, F you, Oakland. F you. I got a major I'm ready to go 30 on them, Mosh. This stay in Oakland behind me right here, this is the last week you're going to see that. I've 10 kinds of pissed off. And look, I don't live in Oakland. And I grew up in San Jose. I understand what my role is in this. I don't live there anymore. But being from there, and also this, I know who our audience is. I understand our demographics, and 10% of our listeners come from Oakland and the San Francisco Bay Area. 10%. Yep. 20% of you are in Los Angeles or at least Southern California, and the rest of you are all over the gosh dang globe.
That's
so
right.
You're thinking the same way that I'm thinking. And look, I'm not taking a shot at the people that live in Oakland. I understand they're taking the team away from you. They're taking away your game day experience, your tailgates, and all those things, and it's a shame and it's a travesty in the terms of sports that that's being robbed from you. But the way that Oakland is playing petty with them, and now they're suing the Raiders, it's trash.
It is.
Trash.
Good rant. Great rant. And you know what? And I'd be willing to bet that you'd have people that would back what you're saying that are dissatisfied with the way that Oakland politics are run anyway. So there you
go. Well, and Uncle Mosh, so we had an interview, and I'm not going to be able to play it today, or at least right here on this show. I'm going to play it separately. And we had an interview with, I want to make sure that I get her name right. She was awesome. Her name is Kimberly Vekerlov, and she is a reporter for the San Francisco Chronicle, and she's not a sports writer. She is a economy and financial reporter and reports on Oakland and the East Bay collectively for the Chronicle. And she wrote a great article, actually a handful of great articles about what this is, what are the expectations, what are the goals here, She does an amazing job of breaking it down, so I'm not going to get into the weeds on it now. Look for that, Raider Nation. I will have that up for you soon. If not tonight, we'll have it up tomorrow. Listen to this interview with her. It's short. It's only like 15 minutes long, and she does an absolute great job of breaking down what the context of all of this is and what this means. Because at the end of the day, it's this, is that they're basically suing the Raiders on kind of a whim. There's not any legal backing, or it's absolutely misplaced at best, and that's it. Well, I hear you laughing over there. What's going on, Mosh?
I'm dying because, of course,
I'm all going 30 over here, and you're laughing.
You got so many fans. You got so many fans on the chat, and they love you, man. And they go to you, and they back you, and they love what you say. But sometimes they keep you humble.
Okay, humble me.
And Ron goes, this is Ron's second quote of the night.
Okay.
He goes, man, I love this HD. It lets you see the spittle fly as he rants.
Thanks, Ron.
Yeah.
It's because I got LaCroix coming out of my mouth. I'm sweating. I got snot and everything. I'm fired up, man. This stuff fires me up. And I'll say this real fast, and then, I had a conversation offline with Kimberly. She asked me about, after we got done with the interview, she said, how do you feel about this? And I said, well, since we're kind of off the record, and, never anything we do is quote off the record, but, since we were done with the interview, I said, this sucks. It's like watching your parents fight. I'm like, this is like what, you got the A's versus the Raiders. The A's with this whole rooted in Oakland thing, which is all marketing and has nothing to do with anything. If it were up to the A's, they'd be the San Jose A's or the Santa Clara A's or the Fremont A's or the St. Petersburg A's, maybe the Portland A's. Like, stop me if you've heard this before. They've already lost the Warriors. Like, the city of Oakland, and with this commitment to the A's and this whole rooted in Oakland thing, it's rooted in marketing. It's not real. So don't buy into it because it's not true. What's true is that the city of Oakland has not did not act enough to help the Raiders stay. And you can get hung up on things like public funding, and I get it. And I absolutely understand why the city would not want to commit public funds, but we're not talking about like them scratching a check. We're talking about them donating land. And they were donating land that was already there, and now what's going to happen to that land? Nothing.
Well,
you know what I mean? So
you brought up a really good point on Monday. It was Mikey and Murph. You were talking about the game day experience. Now, we live in Tennessee, and we live where the stadium is that the Titans play is surrounded by, walking distance by, a number of hopping joints, great bars and family restaurants and quick fast food restaurants. There's a game day experience that can be had by just with walking a short distance, in addition to the all the tailgate stuff and all that. But at Oakland Coliseum, You got the game, and that's it.
That's
and,
it.
And it's, I'll be 60 in 11 days, and as a kid, I remember going to Oakland, and it was always like that. So in 50-plus years that I have memories of going to the Oakland Coliseum, there has been no urban renewal. There's been no buildup. There's been nothing. I always thought that, that's where stadiums were. They were on this area
because Candlestick was like that too.
Candlestick was like that too. It's in the worst part of town,
out in the middle of nowhere.
Is this land that they reclaimed? Come on.
Yeah. So it's just a shame, and looking at and I get fired up because I care, and I listen. I love the Oakland fans, and the people that are City fans and the Stay in Oakland folks and the Forever Oakland and all that. You have nothing but my respect. So please don't mistake my passion for this. As it is not directed at you. It is directed at the politicians. It's directed at people like Libby Schaff. Those are the people that the idea of and all the work that those folks did to try to keep the team. God bless you folks, and I wish that it would have been better served, because unfortunately the city did not have your back, and that's just a shame. So anyways, Uncle Mosh, so I'm gonna play something. So if all this stuff weren't bad enough, there's a report that comes out right on Channel 5 in the Bay Area, right? Comes out, and there's this guy named Jim Quinn. All right, Jim Quinn is one of the city attorneys. I want you to hear this snarky ass answer that Jim Quinn has when this lady's conducting a legitimate news interview, an on-location interview, and listen to this smart-ass answer he gives you. There's kind of like 3 questions to this, and listen to the last one.
We checked the schedule, and the Raiders have a home game here on Christmas Eve, but I'll tell you, the city just delivered them a lump of coal in the form of a lawsuit. December 24th, they're supposed to play at the Coliseum.
Good luck. Go Raiders.
But the city of Oakland has filed a lawsuit to recover damages resulting from the Raiders' planned move to Las Vegas. Damages including lost revenue, money Oakland taxpayers invested in the Raiders.
The owners of the NFL have essentially boycotted the city of Oakland.
The federal antitrust and breach of contract lawsuit names the NFL, the Raiders, and each of the 31 NFL clubs as defendants. Oakland seeking the maximum amount of damages available. The Raiders have made a threat saying, you filed this lawsuit, we're not playing in this town anymore.
Well, the way they're playing, I don't think the city of Oakland really cares that much.
Oh, did he really play that again?
Yeah, he
really
did.
Just
yes,
say
he
that?
did.
Well, the way they're playing, I don't think the city of Oakland really cares that much.
Who is this guy?
Jim Quinn, city attorney for the city of Oakland. Sent him an email.
Holy mackerel.
That's what this is. This is petty parting shots at the freaking Raiders because they know they're gone. And listen, here's the breaking news for you.
Was he at the game? Did he see us whip Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I know, right?
What an idiot.
What an idiot. And so check this out. So when I talked to Kimberly, and this was just a few hours ago when I talked to her, when I did the interview with Kimberly, she dropped some breaking news on us. The Raiders withdrew their proposal for 2019 and 2020. So not only are they gone, they are for real gone. She said they had a proposal on the table to pay Oakland $7 million in a lease for 2019, and if need be, another $9.5 million to play there in 2020. And so she found out right before we got on the interview that they pulled it off. So it's done. It's over. The Raiders are gone.
Jeez.
So where are they going to play, Mosh? Well, there's a handful of places, okay? They could go to Santa Clara and share the stadium with the Niners. That Levi Stadium was built to house 2 NFL teams.
Right.
So the logistics are in place, the infrastructure's in place. That probably would be a good place for them to do it. Now, I know the Raiders are dead set against sharing a stadium with the Niners, and I am too, but, if it makes sense, it makes sense. Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego. That's another one that probably could make a lot of sense. Cal and Stanford is out. They don't have the infrastructure. Sam Boyd Stadium in Las Vegas is out. They don't have the infrastructure. The Alamo Dome in San Antonio is very real as far as ability to be able to handle the logistics of an NFL game, but it's so far from Oakland because they're keeping their offices in Alameda. So it's so far from Oakland. Does that make sense to have your game days essentially, you know what I mean? You're road gaming it every time anyways. And then the last option they're talking about now is we'll just be nomads. We'll just play Mexico City. We'll play in London. We'll just play our home games will be abroad. So
when the Houston Oilers moved to Tennessee, when they did that, they were home. They still had a lot of their offices. Bud Adams, the owner, was still in Houston, and then they started to make their transition until the stadium was built to Middle Tennessee to Nashville. But they played all their home games, if you remember right, that first year in Memphis.
Yeah, they played the Liberty Bowl.
They played the Liberty Bowl, and it was a 4-hour drive, 231 miles, and it was not an uncommon thing. The guys thought of it as they were still home games. Yes. It wasn't that unheard of to do that. So the Raiders aren't breaking new ground here. They're just saying you're not going to push us around. And a lot of the chat is commenting on it, saying, "Hey, what I said probably 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, and since then, that you don't want to take on the NFL. Are you stupid? Is Oakland that stupid?" But you know what? If I were a lawyer that was standing to make millions of dollars, win, lose, or draw, why wouldn't I?
Why wouldn't you? Well, and that's the thing. So these things, so they say they're pro bono. So the attorneys are not going to take any money unless they win. But the thing is about that is that if the NFL countersues them, well, then that comes off the table. Someone's got to pay for that. And so is that going to stick Oakland with the money? So it's funny you brought up about taking on all 32, and I want to bring some clarity. I want to try to distill this down a little bit. Uncle Mosh, I'm not a smart man, but in my day job, I've done a lot of studying of antitrust laws, which is the whole basis of this lawsuit. Antitrust laws, and what does it mean when you hear antitrust laws and the Raiders and the NFL violated antitrust? Antitrust is put in place to keep companies from colluding to drive price fixing in a market or create monopolies. So it's a way, so if you and I are going to bid for the Christmas tree business, we can't collectively go, okay, I'll bid $25, you bid $25, and then they'll be forced to pay $25. Right? That's what antitrust rules is. That's the heart of it, okay? So what they're saying against the NFL is that because there's 32 independent businesses, because the NFL is not owned by one person.
That's right.
It's 32 independent businesses. Because of that, by nature, they're violating antitrust because they all collectively work together towards a common solution or decision. So that's the crux of it. Well, that argument and that the ability to litigate that is weak at best. Like, it's most likely not going to hold up. So, and to give you an example, like the difference, the contrast it, if you think in terms of like WWE, well, if Vince McMahon decides to do something, you can't sue him for antitrust rules because he's the guy. You can't sue Dana White for what UFC does because he's the guy.
Yep.
Right? Well, the NFL doesn't work like that. You got Jerry Jones, you got Robert Kraft, you had Bob McNair, you had you had Mark Davis, right? You had that's how ownership is set up. So you're talking about them quote colluding or them acting as one, and that's where, not to get political about it, but that's where like what Kaepernick's case was. Well, that this wasn't Vince McMahon saying you can't wrestle. This wasn't Dana White saying you can't fight. This was 32 owners saying you can't play football. So that's where he says it's collusion because they're collectively acting together. So I hope that brings a little bit of clarity. So that's what the city of Oakland is then trying to do. And so what does it mean for us as fans? And the whole reason that I even wanted to bring all this up is that what does all this mean? Well, it means that our team is going to play their last freaking home game on Christmas Eve. So for those of you that are getting a chance to go to the game, anybody that was on the fence about going to the game, go to the game. You know what I mean? And I'm so thankful that I was able to get out there earlier this year. And I'm so thankful for all of you that were able to attend games this year and are going to make the Christmas Eve game because, Mosh, this is it. This is absolute the last time that we're going to get a chance to see the Oakland Raiders. All right, one more. You want to go one more? Want to go one more thing? You want to go to CC?
Let's go CC.
All right, so Last thing we'll kind of touch on is that the whole crux of all this, why did all this stuff come up? It's because the Raiders need a new place to play, man. The Raiders needed a legitimate facility, and CC Sabathia, Vallejo native and diehard Raider fan, now pitcher for the Yankees, and he was on the Good Morning Football show and talking a little bit about the Raiders and about the necessity for them to relocate.
All right. The idea is a couple years down the road, the Raiders will be back. You're going to have all these picks. You got another pick for Cooper. These picks are going to pan out. There's going to be a new stadium. There's going to be a new city. There's going to be a new glitz. Does that get you going at all? Maybe 2020?
It does. And I was just saying, I was in Vegas this past weekend, and it's all Raiders. So that's exciting. You know what I mean? It is, yeah. Everybody's excited about the Raiders. T-shirts all in the airport. Everywhere you go, it's all Raiders.
Las Vegas Raiders as a concept is cool to you?
It is.
Yeah?
It is. A new stadium. As a fan, it sucks as a fan because I'm from, the Bay Area and we're losing a team. But as a athlete, I know what that Coliseum is like, and it's disgusting in there. You play.
Yeah, I know.
The place is bad, man. So they need a new place. And as a fan, you want a place nice to go and hang out. So I think it'll be fun. I'm excited.
Called it disgusting, Mosh. There was reports this week that there were mice in the vending machines.
Oh.
Come on, man. We need a new place to play.
Oh.
There he is, fading, looking. He's under the gun. He's caught. He throws. It is.
Well, you know what that music means, that soundbite, that excitement. It's time for the Sea of Fans mailbag. But we got a couple things we got to talk about. Okay, so last week I was a little off my game. I was a little I'm not making excuses here, but we didn't really give our Sizzler Award, and the reason we didn't give the Sizzler Award is because we had we had Dave in the studio.
Dave was the Sizzler.
Dave was our Sizzler. Dave was our buddy. Dave's a great guy. He's our buddy. He's the reason that we beat the Steelers because Dave came over.
That's right, yeah.
He did the show with us, and then he came back Sunday to watch the game. And Dave's got 100% losing streak.
He sure does.
100% losing streak every time he comes over here wearing that stupid mustard and black outfit of his, and the Pittsburgh Squealers lose.
Yeah. Yeah. So Dave, congratulations, you get the Sizzler. And
yeah. So Sizzler will be back this week. So I got my chart. I'm ready to go.
You're ready to go.
But before we do that,
tell them what the Sizzler is, Mosh.
So the Sizzler is this.
Sizzler.
Sizzler is our best call of the week. Now, all of our calls are great. We do this show for our calls.
Yes.
We love we're Raiders fan radio. It's all about you guys. It's all about the fans. And so it's the hot take, man. It's the one that goes, oh, love that. That one sizzled. But we got a little bit of thing we got to work on. We got a little bit of dynamic that we got to tweak just a bit. Hit me with that.
All right, so guys know, and I love it when you talk about in the chat when Google Voice claims people, right? When claims a victim because they don't get their call in under the 3-minute mark. And guys, we have your response and interaction to our show is amazing, and we have the best listeners and the best folks that interact with us, and I'm thankful for the growth that our show has had. We often joke about whenever we get into a new professional market in a country abroad and whatnot, but the truth of it is that our show grows every single week, and we get more and more correspondence. And keep the voicemails and all that stuff coming, but I'm going to say two things. Number one, the best way to get in touch with our show is by the Sea of Fans mailbag. Call us or send us an email. Uncle Mosh and I will always get those. I love the Facebook messages, the Twitter messages, the Facebook interactions and the posts and all that stuff. But it gets to be, there's so many of them that I only got, because I do have a job, and I got to get to those at sometimes. So I'm not griping, and I don't want to discourage anybody from reaching out. But please know that if I miss you on Facebook, it's just because there's just so many. So if you definitely want to get to us, hit us on the Sea of Fans mailbag. Those will always get to us. And the more concise we can make those messages, the better off it'll be. So not only don't get claimed by the 3 minutes on Google Voice, but if you could get that thing in there in a minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes tops, then that will allow us that much more room to not only, one, respond to you, but two, get everybody in, because we're getting to a point where, you know what I mean? Like, no, again, I want to discourage anybody, but
no, and we don't want to leave anybody out.
We don't want to leave anybody out, right?
So condense them, and they, you know what? When you condense them, they sizzle more.
They sizzle more. They sure do. All right, so let's get to our first sizzler candidate, and hear from somebody, Uncle Mosh, we hadn't heard from in a while, and that is Made Man Red up in Yakima, Washington.
Yo, Murph, Uncle Mosh, Sonny, what's going on? Red up here in Yakima. Been a while since I've touched bases with you guys. My grandma caught the cancer. I had to take care of her for a while. And, well, I'm back. And what about that game? Steelers, huh? From what I understand, the Steelers with Ben Roethlisberger as their starting quarterback is winless in Oakland. Yep. Winless. It looked like we were playing better. A lot better. Can't wait for the draft. Got them 3 first-round picks. I think it would be nice to end up with Ed Oliver out of Houston, move him over to the end and let him rush the quarterback, because he's undersized to play interior D-line, but I think he'd be perfect off the edge rushing the quarterback. And much respect to Capital Q-Dog. I'll be touching base with you guys more often. Keep up the good work, guys. Love the show. Go Raiders.
All right, thank you very much, Red. Appreciate you calling. Good to hear from you. And prayers up, man, for Grandma there. I hate to hear that news, and we've definitely missed you, but look forward to hearing from you more going forward. And yeah, there's a lot of pass rush opportunity in the draft. And speaking of Q-Dog, his guy Josh Allen, we're all kind of falling in love with the potential that he's got. Of course, and Q-Dog in his call is gonna talk about him later. But anyways, good to hear from you, Red. Uncle Mosh, you got a couple emails this week, don't you?
I do. So I heard from Paul, our guy. Paul just cracks me up. Paul's overseas. He's across the pond, and he says, "Commiserations." This one came from 2 weeks ago, and he says, "Commiserations."
Yeah, we skipped them last week.
Yeah,
that was my fault.
And no, that was Dave's fault.
Oh, it was Dave's fault. Oh, you know what?
Everything gets
from
blamed
now on.
Dave.
Yes.
Yeah, no matter what. A year from now.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
Dave's
all
fault.
blamed on
Dave's
Dave.
fault. Yeah.
So anyway, he was talking about his first email. He was talking about the loss to the Kansas City Chiefs, and he says something that we all said. We can take away so many positives from the game, and the confidence that the kind of performance puts into a young group, even in defeat, will be huge going forward. And almost as if he was like, the rest of us were saying, that's what we were looking for. That's what we took away. And really in defeat, everybody was pretty positive after the Kansas City game.
Yeah.
Anyway, he finishes out his email and he says, I'm pumped up about going into the next few games in the coming weeks. Thanks for all you do. Well, then he followed it up this week and he says, Paul Egerton here from Shropshire, UK in Mississippi. And I love that. And, he says, what a great performance and results against the Pittsburgh Squealers. There have been signs in recent weeks that we have been improving, and Sunday we put things together really well. Coach Gruden and DC are using the same playbook, and we're looking competitive. It's a shame the season isn't starting now. Amen. Confidence is growing, and it goes on to talk about stuff. Well, then he says, he finishes his correspondence with, it was a real treat to see Lester Hayes on the sideline giving advice. When I first started watching our great nation back in the day, Lester was my first hero. I love number 37 to this day. Maybe he was passing on the modern-day stickum to Kerryon Conley. A big shout-out to Q-Dog on being made capo. There's no one that deserves that accolade more, and, of course, we agree totally. Keep up the good work, fellas. Regards, Paul.
Awesome job, Paul. Thank you for the emails, as always. Paul mentioned Lester there and about how he was mentoring young Gary and Conley, which was awesome. But also, we talked about Andrea Villapiano earlier and had an interview. She also shared a picture that was, you want to talk about going fanboy. I saw this picture, Uncle Mosh. I sent it to you, and, it's got Reggie McKenzie in it, so that's a little sad there. So no disrespect to him, but the rest of the guys in the picture, so it's Reggie McKenzie, it's Lester Hayes, it's Mark Davis, it's Reggie Jackson, it's Franco, and Phil all standing there next to each other. And I'm like, what the crap? I'm like, there's like 3 of my heroes right there, man, at least, you know what I mean? And then a bunch of other people that I respect,
that's like
you know what I mean?
That's like 5 living presidents or something.
Yeah.
I mean, that
was great.
Jeez.
Yeah, that was cool, man. Especially seeing Reggie, like, because, being such Oakland fans, A's fans, and Reggie, like, give me an idea. And look, and all that rant I went on earlier and all that, listen, one time, this is back when I used to partake. I was like 22 years old, went to an A's game, had a fireworks show afterwards, and they let you on the field to go see the fireworks show. You know what I did after the fireworks show?
Tell me.
I went out into right field and ate grass. You know why? Because Reggie played there.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it was after about 1 or 19 beers, but still, like, the point of it is, so is it like, that's the Oakland Coliseum, like, I literally grew up there. Like that. Like, I mean, that's my place. And that was, Reggie was one of my guys. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? And not just mine, but ours, like our family, like that.
Sure.
Reggie was like our freaking hero, man. And so to see him there with Phil and with Lester Hayes, like, man, that was awesome. That was a great picture.
First jersey was A's jersey. Was the Reggie Jackson jersey you bought me.
Yeah.
I mean, that.
Yeah. Number 9, Reggie Jackson. Old school
Reggie's
Reggie.
The real deal, man.
Absolutely. So that was really cool. But anyways, I digress. Let's go ahead and hear next caller and go to who we got? Houston Raiders Steve.
Yeah.
Hey, Murph and Mosh, this is Houston Raiders Steve. I just left the Raiders game. We won by 3 points. All those Bumblebee fans over there, they can go back to Crapsburg, Pittsburgh, whatever you want to call it. Hey, I was lucky to be on field before the game for the pregame ceremony for the flag. Man, it's being on the field, seeing Ben and all them running out there. Pre-game, I went over the black hole. I saw Phil Villapiano. Franco Harris got a picture with Franco. Villapiano was yelling, "The ball touched the ground! The ball touched the ground!" Man, what a great win. I've seen a lot of losses out here in Oakland. This is the first time in a long time. I've been out here 3 games for the Steelers, and they've been 3-0 against the Steelers. So that plane flight to Houston's going to be a heck of a lot easier, man. I was cheering my butt off for all you great Raider fans that called in the Fan Cave, Mikey's Thing, Raider Nation podcast. This is my last game in Oakland. It's an emotional time, man, for the flag ceremony. And seeing Franco, seeing Villapiano out there at the Black Hole tailgate with JT the Brick and Ron Rivera, the founder of the Black Hole. We're just going to take it one day at a time. What a great Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa present. You guys, I love you all, man, and keep hanging in there. Man, what a send-off. Flying back to Houston tomorrow, man. I couldn't be happier, man. We pulled it out. Raiders for life. Never walk the plank, never jump a ship. God bless. Love you all. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
Super cool. Good job, Houston Raiders, Steve. Great call. Mosh, and this is kind of what I'm talking about. And, of course, I've been a little fiery and a little wired tonight. But you can hear the passion in his voice. You know what I mean? You can hear the passion. Almost like, almost like his voice is creaking a little bit there. Like, because, that's his last game at the Coliseum. Last time to see the Raiders, and especially to be on the field for the flag ceremony and all that. Like, that's really cool stuff, man. And that's the thing and that's why, look, regardless of how you feel about all this stuff, at the end of the day, we're all, passionate Raider fans. And so however that manifests in you and whatever your opinion is, I respect all of it. You know what I mean? And so because of that, because of the, because it hits us, man. It's like we got an emotional connection to this team and the things around it, whether we like it or not. So anyways, great stuff there, Steve. Really enjoyed that phone call. All right, Uncle Mosh, let's go next up to our buddy, made man Alberto in Los Angeles.
Alberto from LA. What did I say? Remember, 3 weeks ago, I was like, the Raiders are going to beat the Steelers. And look what happened. 0-4, Ben Roethlisberger in Oakland. Greatest quarterback of all time. Got right. This game, just to show you, John Gruden is not an idiot. People picture him as an idiot that, John Gruden's training all these players, he's doing all this, he's doing all that, he doesn't know what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. It just showed you this game. The defense played good. for what? It was like 2 quarters. I think the Raiders shut down the Steelers' offense. Then the Raiders on offense, it was kind of shaky today, but still, John Gruden's not an idiot. And when we get the players that we need, this team is going to be killing it. John Gruden's not an idiot as well. They scored 20 points in the second half. John Gruden's not an idiot. I'm impressed with his defense. A lot of people haven't been talking about the defense, and I think the defense is, an underrated part of this season, and it's been better. I think this defense is better than last season's. Turnovers, there's more turnovers. Sacks, not as much. Well, we're not going to mention who the sack leader last year was, but either way, the defense with good players next season, we're going to be killing it. We might have the best defense next season or the next season. And Uncle Mosh, I'm just as happy as you are. Man, I hate the Steelers. I can't stand them. Black and gold, more like a wannabe silver and black. I also want to mention why I love listening to you guys' podcast so much and YouTubers is because the media always paints us as a bad football team. Well, we are right now, but they always say is like, oh, we're stupid and et cetera, et cetera. F the media. Either way, go Raiders.
All right, Uncle Mosh, what do you think there? He's on board with you. Happy we beat the Steelers, and you've been saying this a long, and I really, and I appreciate a lot of people's opinions that aren't, Skip Bayless and whatnot. But, as far as people that I interact with on a regular basis, I really appreciate your perspective on Gruden and the rebuilding portion of this. And even though we didn't realize it was a rebuilding early on, you've kind of maintained that there is a bigger picture that he's been rebuilding from the get-go. Even before we realized there was an on-field rebuild, you were talking about the overall rebuild of the organization. And so I really have appreciated your stance on this. And it's, at this point, really coming to fruition, and it's showing that that's exactly what was going on.
Well, I got to go back to some things that I've seen, some things that I've heard, not from the media, but from the players. Every single one of them that we have heard has talked about buying into the culture. And I've said from the beginning, it works from the top down. And Gruden has rebuilt the culture. And when you start that with the players, when he holds 4 games ago, when he walked by and he slaps our defensive coordinator with the playbook on the belly and said, "What the hell's going on, dude?" It's from the top down. He's holding everybody accountable, and everybody knows that they're accountable to each other, and that's what a good coach does. You hold each other accountable, you coach them up, you take the blame when the blame is needed to be taken, and you move on. You take your losses. We took our loss in Kansas City, and we learned from it, and we come out the next week and we kick the crap out of the Pittsburgh.
Absolutely. Awesome.
So, yeah, you call me drunk, Gruden drunk, I'm taking it. I'm owning it. I'm owning it. No more NyQuil. It's Gruden.
All right, next up, let's go hear from our buddy Central Valley Raider.
What's going on, Murph? What's going on, Uncle Mosh? This is Central Valley Raider calling just to congratulate the nation, the Raiders, on an epic win. One of the best wins in a long time, I would say. I know they've been far in between, but it was awesome just to see the guys step up. Very proud of the Raiders today. I guess Carr's like 8 TDs, no interceptions, 122 point something quarterback rating. Just awesome. Can't wait to see what the media says tomorrow. At some point, they're going to have to start singing the positive praises to Gruden. That might be a little late, but it's starting to happen. The belief in the system, the belief in the coach, and the belief that things are going to take time. I'm not getting too crazy. Obviously, we're still going to be 3-10, something like that, but it is a positive note. One thing I will say, it's really good to see, and I think they've seen today, D-tackle position, we got nice depth. I think it's fairly obvious. We need edge rushers. And I see us attacking that position at least two times during the draft. We got really nice depth when it comes to the push in the middle. Linebackers stepping up. We just look really, really good today. Can't believe I'm going to say that Seth Roberts was a hero today. Wow, the guy stepped up. Anyways, keep up the great work. Really excited and really jazzed up about waking up tomorrow morning and going to work and wearing my Raider tie. My students will get to see it and be able to share the experience and the story, maybe even show them a couple highlights. So anyways, guys, again, keep up the great work. Love the show. And look forward to hearing Mike and Murph on Monday. All right, deuces.
All right, Uncle Mosh, I'm going to let you take that one, too, because you mentioned putting on his Raider tie and going and sharing the win with his students and actually sharing back some highlights and some stories about the Raiders with his students. And you talk about that a lot, too, about your interactions with people that you work with at school. And so tell us about that.
It's true. No, I love it. I love it. And, you know, because I take a lot of heat, you know. I take a lot of heat being a Raider fan, and I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. You know, I heard I guess it was on the interview that we had earlier with Andrea. You know, if you're gonna whine, when her message to Raider Nation, you're gonna whine and you're gonna complain and you're gonna bitch and you're gonna moan. But if that's the case, hey, there's 31 other teams.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
We don't need you. We don't need you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I'm Raiders, man, and I'll take the heat, but I'll also wear the tie. You know, come on with it, Central Valley Raider.
Absolutely, you know? That was a good one. Good job. You know, and it's funny that you brought that up too, because I've thought about that before too. Because I'm like, if the team sucks and the coach sucks and the owner sucks and all this stuff, then what are you a fan of?
Yeah, well, you know what? Go follow soccer.
Yeah, like at what point, like what are you a fan of then? Are you just a fan of like what we used to be? Like I don't know, like. I try to remain more in, like, let's analyze what the Raiders are and not what they aren't. Like, let's try to figure out. And Jerry McDonald did such a great job of writing an article on this the other day, last week, when he talked about that, you know, it's easy to criticize. It's easy to pile on because 31 teams critics every year are proven right. What's hard to do is to try to actually piece it together and look at it and see and gain some insight and distill down what the reality of what's going on is. What's the intent? What's the goals? What's the plan? Let's try to figure that stuff out instead of just sitting back and going, oh, they suck.
Look,
it's easy. Anybody can do that.
You and I have, through the years, we have watched on YouTube, on pay-per-view, we have watched everything from UFC Brock Lesnar's first fight.
Yeah.
You know, we have paid for WrestleMania more times than we care to admit. We have paid pay-per-view for boxing matches. And we got to the point.
We got Mayweather McGregor.
Yeah, it was the last one.
Yeah.
But prior to that fight, you and I were to the point where we're like, man, we're just disgusted with this sport. We're like, we're not giving them any more money. We walked away from it, and we were, you know, we were all in. We were all in, and we did the same thing with NASCAR. You know, because we live in the South, we bought into it. Okay, and it was kind of cool, and it was all that, and it lost us. It lost us. So we walked away. Well, you know what? If you're unhappy with football, walk away.
Walk away. Walk away from the Raiders.
Sell me your Raiders stuff cheap, or just give it to me.
Yeah, don't burn it.
Don't burn it. Send it to us. You know, we'll give it away for Sizzler Awards. You know?
Absolutely. Great point, Uncle Mosh. Great point. And you know, Mikey and I were talking about Rocky movies the other day on the show, and my comment was, you know, it's a shame that I look more forward to Creed 2 than I do whatever, you know, Tyson Fury and whatever that other guy with that box. Boxing it's such a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame because
once upon a time it was so awesome,
dude.
Remember Lewis Holyfield? That was the last one that I remember. You and I getting like, we were fired up for that, and then it ended in a draw, and we're like, what? Like really? Like it was so obvious. The thing was I don't want to call it the fix, but it was a fix.
I remember growing up as a kid listening to the radio in the kitchen with my ma. You know, because Grandma Jenny, she was all in on any sport. It didn't have to have, you know. We did everything. We did everything from boxing to roller derby to, you know, the San Jose Bees, for crying out loud. Yeah. You know, I mean, we did it all. And she and I in the kitchen, I remember sitting there listening to a Muhammad Ali fight with her on this giant transistor radio that she had. You know, because it got the best reception, and we had the antenna coming up with the aluminum foil on and everything. But you know, I mean, that's when it was great. And you know, now I don't even care.
Yeah,
I don't even care. I walked, you know, but I'm done with it.
Well,
you know?
and what is your nephew's name?
Yeah. Sonny Lewis. You know,
Sonny Lewis.
Sonny Lewis after Sonny Liston and Joe Lewis.
Joe Lewis. I mean, like we're kind of a big deal. Boxing was to our family,
right?
but not anymore. Yeah. So, all right, next up, let's go hear from our buddy Florida Raider.
Murph, Mosh, Raiders. Florida Ben calling, Florida Raider forever calling you. Just want to say we got our early Christmas present this year, huh? How about it? They talk about Cyber Monday and Black Friday. How about a Black Monday? Stand up, Raider Nation. This is a Black Monday with silver crowds. Stand up, Raider Nation. Stand tall, stand proud. Nice sending them Steelers back across the country with a big L tattooed on the forehead. Nothing makes me smile more, and I'm sure Uncle Mosh must be smiling ear to ear. Anyway, one game makes the season sometimes, and this one made it for me. Big smile for everyone involved. Let's go Raiders. Anyway, we had some doubters with Derek Carr. How about that pass he threw to Seth Roberts? It was like fine art. I don't think Picasso could have painted a prettier picture than that. Beautiful pass, and the kid's going to be fine. Just leave him alone. As far as the defense went, I thought we gave up some big plays, but you know what? Nothing negative today, baby. All positive thoughts. So, let's enjoy this victory together, Raider Nation. Mosh and Murph, I appreciate everything you guys do. This platform is outstanding. And the only thing I can hope for now this Christmas is maybe a game in Tennessee next year. We could all get together and have one big blowout tailgate party. I love to have a little tailgate with Q-Dog, because I took his advice and I'm going with his jersey. I already got a 24 Murph, so I'm going to go with Q-Dog's pick. So anyway, guys, have a great week, and I'm sure everybody's smiling, and stay happy. Go black and silver. Go Raiders.
Fantastic call. Great job, Florida Raider. Awesome stuff there. Yeah, I love it. He's going with the Tatum jersey.
Yeah,
that's a good one. And when you go 32, of course, you get Tatum, and then you get Marcus Allen. It was also 32. You know what I'd like to see, Uncle Mosh, and I've not seen one of these yet. I would love to see a 31 Tatum jersey, because Tatum wore 31 for like 4 years, I want to say. Like back in the day, during the Immaculate Deception, he was wearing 31. He's not wearing 32. And I don't know the reason behind his change or anything. I'll probably dig into that for a black hole one of these days. But yeah, Tatum wore 31 for a long time, so that would be a pretty good jersey to have too. But great call. Keep him coming, Florida Raider. I think that's his second, so one more, and he'll be a made man. And actually, there's a few in here. Ev Dog, our next caller, is another one. This is his second time calling the show, and he went back to back. And I mentioned we had so many calls, and so there were a handful of these were guys' second call.
Sure.
But I wanted to feature both of Ev Dogs because he says something is going to happen, and then it happens on his second call. Nice. So let's listen to him.
Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on, Raider Nation? This is second-time caller Ev Dog, Marsh Dog. It's EV. Just wanted to clear that up for when I achieve my fan-long dream of becoming a made man. Anyways, just calling because I work at an airport in the Bay Area, a private airport, and one of the pilots that I'm buddies with just gave me the news that Charles Woodson is coming in on Tuesday, and he would introduce me. So I am beyond stoked and cannot wait to meet him, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. And about the victory today, I'm beyond stoked about that too. So needless to say, it's been a great week for the Raiders. All right, I'll give you guys an update after I meet him. See ya.
And he called back.
Hey guys, F-Dog, Marsh Dog, calling back. Just met Charles Woodson. Oh my God, it was awesome. I honestly, I can't believe I met him. Working at a private airport like that, I've met multiple people. Like, I don't mean to be a name dropper like Murph likes to say, but I've gotten to see like Barry Bonds, freaking Ben Affleck. Those are the only two I can think of right now because I'm still pretty hyped about this. But God, I got to like talk to him for like 5-10 minutes, talk football. I was too afraid to ask for a picture or anything because I at least have to stay kind of professional at my job. But, man, if you ever get a chance to meet Charles Woodson, like, do it because he's an awesome dude. All right, guys. It was good getting to share that with the Raider Nation. I'll call back again soon.
All right, great job. Congratulations, man. That's pretty cool. That's fun. It's always fun to meet, famous folks, and especially when you get to meet somebody that you're, one of your heroes, in the sports realm. And I would equally freak out if we got a chance to meet Charles Woodson.
Yeah.
That'd be great. And what's funny is that I love how he mentions there. He said, if you ever get a chance to meet Charles Woodson, do it.
Yeah, right. Like any of us wouldn't.
I know. That's so funny. Like, in some people,
you started sweating when he said Woodson. Yeah.
And I love it when we get messages and like I've had people say like, you should have Derek Carr on your show. Like, I agree.
Weekly,
yes. And if there were ever an opportunity, you guys should get John Madden. You really guys should. You should reach out to John Madden. Yeah, I would love to have John Madden on our show. Like, yes, like so it's kind of funny. So yeah, if you ever get a chance to meet Charles Woodson, Uncle Mosh. Do it.
Oh, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah. All right, next up, let's hear from our buddy Mojo Raider.
Fellas, Mojo from San Diego checking in at Ricky's. Left the game, met up, did some tailgating with Capo, Aaron the Q-Dog Raider. Good people. Met his brother and sister. He met my wife. Man, it was an absolute blast, man. We took the pictures for you guys. But here's what I really want to talk about. We won. Just win, baby. We got that block kick, man. It happened. Hey, maybe we're the good luck charm. Hey, the rest of Raider Nation, listen up. Maybe you guys should send me and Aaron the Q-Dog Raiders to the game every Sunday. All right? Check out the GoFundMe. We're good luck. Anyway, hey, Super Bowl 2020, baby. I'll talk to you guys next time. Out.
That's awesome. Fantastic call as usual, Joe. Great job. Yeah, I would love to send those guys out there to Oakland, but we're only going to get one more shot at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
and you and I would have to chaperone.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, great call. And again, man, major respect to you guys and props to you guys for not only getting together, which is just cool to hear those stories, but for representing our show, man. I had the pictures with the shirt, man. Represent
so
Raiders
cool.
Fan Radio
That's
there
the
in
coolest.
Oakland. It's awesome, man. You guys are the best, and so much respect from us here, from me and Uncle Mosh. All right, next up, Uncle Mosh. That we are. I'd like that our callers give themselves names, right?
Sure.
Some, I'm sure their names were given to them and they're using their own nicknames or whatever. Like my name is my last name is Murphy and my uncle was Murph and everybody in our family was Murph. And then when we started doing these shows, you're like, you need to be Murph. You're like, that's a great radio name. And I'm like, but I'm not Murphy. And like, no, you're Murph now. And so you gave me that name. So I was thankful to get that name because I didn't really have a nickname other than that. And you are Uncle Mosh because a whole series of events, we could do a whole podcast on how you end up with Uncle Mosh, but, so that is your nickname. So I love it how folks give themselves nicknames or earn these nicknames from other people. Like Mojo is a great name. His name is Joe. It's a great name. This is my next favorite, or if maybe even be my top favorite because it's Raidery, but it doesn't have the word Raider in it.
Right.
So let's go hear from our buddy Just Win Johnny.
What's up, Murph? What's up, Uncle Mosh? This is Just Win Johnny, calling in from the East Coast. And I listened to a bunch of podcasts. You guys are right up there, actually. Top of the heap. I love you guys. And everything I hear about Carr lately, I can't believe that no one can get over this about get rid of Carr, get rid of Carr. I've been a Raider fan for 40 years, and I live in New England. I've dealt with the Tuck Rule game, dealt with Pats fans, Giants fans, Jets fans. Since again, we've had nothing like Carr. He's got to settle in the system. He's got to get his bearings done. Look what he's doing with nothing. Everything's been stripped away from him. And look, he's still putting up decent numbers, better than some quarterbacks in the NFL. I don't know why some of these fans all claim, get rid of Carr, get rid of Carr. Do you want to go backwards in time? Because I don't. I've been there. I've seen it. We've waited for someone like Carr for a long time. Just give him time, Raider Nation. Let him settle in the system. And, see, next year he's going to make progressions. The numbers are there. I can't see how all these people just want to get rid of Carr. It's insane to me. Anyways, go Raiders.
All right, I'm with you, Just Win Johnny.
Yeah,
the
no
idea
kidding.
of getting rid of Derek Carr is a silly one, and I forget which caller it was earlier that mentioned the pass that he threw to Seth Roberts. Gosh, Uncle Mosh, and it wasn't just that one. Derek was dropping dimes all over the place.
He was throwing them on a rope, bud.
It was amazing.
It was amazing.
It was amazing. He had a great game. So I'm with you. The idea of getting rid of Derek Carr, look, you don't get rid of your franchise quarterback. I know things aren't perfect, but they rarely are. And look, when he's got a lot of capability to be an elite quarterback in the league. He hasn't realized it all the way there yet, but I think he's in good shape. All right, Johnny called us back, gave us one more message.
This is Just Win Johnny calling back because I forgot something. When I said before that, I was glad that they were quitting swinging about Gruden, I also meant Mikey. Mikey's come around and turned, and he's starting a little less of the Gruden hate, and I like that. Just kidding, Mikey. I love you. Love your show, too. What he does with you, Murph. Great. You guys just, what you do for Raider Nation is awesome. And I just want to thank you all. Just Win Johnny. Out.
All right, you're welcome, Johnny. Glad to do it, man. We love doing this stuff. We love coming on here and playing radio. And, the thing about Mikey, and I've said it before, and I'll say it real quickly again, the thing that I like so much about our interactions on that show and Mikey in general is that we don't always agree, and that we don't, the only thing that we haven't, well, not the only thing, but the thing that we always have in common is our passion for the Raiders. After that, we kind of, we'll veer off of each other's opinions at times, but that's what makes it good. Right? You kind of cover all bases, Mosh, don't you think?
And I love Mikey because Mikey can be swayed, and Mikey won't admit that at all. And that's one of the things that I love about him is his passion is beyond reproach. This guy is passionate, but he'll come on, and last week he's like, I'm all pissed off about Gruden conspiracy this, and he's not telling us this, and he's not. And by the end of your broadcast, he was like, all right, Murph, you're swinging me to a Gruden fan, and it's like, before long he'll be dressing like Chucky.
That's right. That's absolutely. So hey, real quick before we move on to the last couple calls here, I want to recognize the guys in the chat room. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in here on the live stream of Raiders Fan Radio. I can't scroll up, but Raider Critique, Sean Garcia, Aaron the Q-Dog Raider, Joe Cantrell, Bobby Wasabi, Pirate 1975. Who else is in
Raider
there? Raider Homer, Raider Jobo. And then we had a new one in there, Chris Rubio. And Chris asked the question, Uncle Mosh, was last year's win against the Chiefs, or what was a bigger win? Last year's win against the Chiefs or this one against the Steelers? And that's a great question because both seasons we fell short, so it wasn't like one propelled us into the playoffs or anything like that. But I would say probably the Chiefs game because it was on prime time and the whole way that it went down. Remember, we scored a touchdown like 5 times in a row.
Right.
Remember with all the flags and all that.
Gosh.
It was just like kept going on and on and on, and the drama kept building more and more and more. And then with Derek finally threw that pass to the corner of the end zone, front corner to Crabtree, that was just like, it was amazing. So that would be my vote. But the reason that I would even put this one close is that it reminds me of an old Eddie Murphy skit when he talked about being hungry and then someone gives you a Ritz and you're like, oh man, that's the best Ritz I ever had in my life. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, you're just happy to get that one cracker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what the Steelers game felt like to us. We've been starved for wins and someone tossed us a Ritz and we're like, ooh, that's the best Ritz I've ever had in my whole life.
Yeah. And I'm with you on that. That game last week, you and I watched that for a couple days in a row afterwards. We're like, oh my gosh, because it was so exciting.
Yeah,
and we got just as excited, standing at the bar over here, looking at the TV with our faces right up there. And we're like, we knew what the result was going to be, but we watched it over and over again.
Yeah.
But this week, for me, it was this week.
Because it's the Steelers?
Two things. Because we played so good against the Chiefs the week before. We played so good and I was so fired up, and I was sick, and I was getting over it, and having Dave here, and it just getting to rub it in. It was oh man. It was the bomb.
Oh, nice. Good deal. Great question, Chris. Great question. Appreciate you joining us in the chat room, and appreciate you checking out Raiders Fan Radio. All right, let's go to Jeff, Raider64.
Hey, Uncle Marsh, Murph. This is Jeff, a.k.a. Raiders64. Just kind of wanted to say what a great game, man, on Sunday. A typical Raiders-Steelers game, close. It's great to see Carr playing well again. He's been on fire since the Kansas City game. So, yeah, great to see. Excellent game. on to Reggie McKenzie. I believe this what happened in the beginning like when Gruden was hired, he didn't sign a $100 million 10-year contract to come in and play tiddlywinks and coach the team. So he was given some power. Obviously, we all know that, and I don't think Reggie wanted to stay on in the beginning, and I think that Mark Davis, I believe, probably talked him into it. That's kind of maybe a stretch, but I think he was wanted out and probably went to Davis and Gruden, and just said, hey, I'm out of here, and that's the end of that. But anyways, the mainstream media, here we go again. Everybody's blaming Gruden for it, It's just like, come on, it's just one thing after the next. I just got kind of one thing to say about the mainstream media, and here it is. And I'll use a line my dad used to use. They don't have enough sense to pour piss out of a boot with the instructions written on the heel. That pretty much sums it up for them. I'm just tired of them. So just want to say it was a great game and all that, and enjoy your week and enjoy the weekend and the upcoming game. Go Raiders. Bye.
Okay, look, if Pillsbury decides to stop making Pop-Tarts,
okay,
nobody's going to blame the CEO.
Yeah.
It's a corporate decision.
Yeah.
We are the Oakland Raiders are a corporation. They are a company. They are a business.
Run by the Pillsbury Doughboy?
Run by. I'm going to draw a food analogy, But so when it's one of those things that just drives me nuts, and especially, and it's fueled by the mainstream media.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, Gruden fired this guy, and he hated this guy, and he hated this guy, and when they realize, Mikey was ranting about, oh, he didn't like Gruden's press conference. Well, you know what? This is a corporate decision. This isn't one guy going. This isn't Al. This isn't Al. This isn't one guy going.
Yeah.
You pissed me off. Get out. This is decisions that are made at the corporate level because that's what we're in. This is a business. It's fun. It's fan football. It what we do. Our fan radio. What we are watching sports. But these guys, this is their livelihood. This is a business, and people got to realize that it's not just one guy with the stick up his butt saying, "I want that guy gone." Corporate decisions are made. You're in the corporate world, Murph. Corporate decisions are made. Whether in your line, whether you're acquiring another branch. When a car company decides to discontinue one model and go with another, it's not one guy that gets pissed off because he doesn't like his Nissan,
right?
His Nissan Rogue, so he's going to discontinue that and only make Titans or whatever. Come on, man.
Well, and I think
it makes me nuts.
Well, and there's not a like a board of directors, right? That you have a sole entity that's essentially pulling the trigger, right? The Gruden is the guy that's calling the shot. But what you're saying, and this is where you and I are 100% agreeing on, is that he doesn't make his decisions independent of other folks. He makes a decision after consulting with Mark or with Paul Gunther and Olsen or whoever else. Like the idea that Gruden is just operating independently and doing these things, damn everything else, that's a completely misguided concept. So when it came to Reggie McKenzie, Gruden didn't just up and fire Reggie McKenzie.
No.
This was after, I'm sure, long, lengthy decisions and conversations with Mark Davis and who knows who else, and frankly, probably with Reggie himself. Because Gruden will tell you, we get along.
And you're not going to hear Reggie trash the Raiders.
No,
it's
not at all.
Going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Because and look at this league. You don't have the Roger Staubachs who only played for the those boys down there in Texas. You don't have that anymore. We are a fluid league. There's people that move around. It's
coaches and players, and front office personnel.
So I think that's why Phil And some of the others were so pissed about some of the comments that a former player who shall not be named.
Oh boy.
I'm not going to bring him up because you're going to trash where you came from. People don't do that. This is a fluid league, you know? I mean, unless you got screwed, you know, and unless you had something to back it up. Our buddy Pete Koch talks about, you know, how he felt he was slighted in his coaching, but he gives specifics. He didn't attack, you know, he was talking about some of the places he was at before he came to the Raiders. He wasn't just trashing that organization.
Not at all.
He was saying this specific coach did me wrong. This specific thing happened. And for them,
not only did Amari Cooper trash the organization, he trashed the city of Oakland.
He
trashed
his
the
name.
fans.
Don't do that again.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, my bad. Yes, he is now up there with number 17 of the Chargers. Wilson's acting partner.
Yeah.
Who else? And the guy that plays
in Soldier Field,
Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yes, so you can't disparage everything, and that's what he did. He disparaged everything,
and so he disparages everything.
Don't you love the way Fu called him out?
Oh, baby,
Fu didn't just call him out. Fu
would have slapped him.
Fu would have slapped him.
Fu would have.
That was awesome, man. That was so good. That was so good.
All right. I'm sorry. I digress. I went all over I went from the Pillsbury Doughboy to Fu.
Let me get your camera back on you. That was a good. That was Murph-worthy rant there, Uncle Mike. You went off the rails a little bit. I like it.
If my microphone
you
would have
went
been
30.
over here.
You went 30.
I went 30. Yeah.
There we go. We
Thank
need
you,
to get
Tristan.
There you go. All right, let's go to our buddy Big Raider Trucker.
The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Big Raider Trucker checking in, saying, hell yeah, baby! Woo! I just want to say, damn, that game should have been on prime time. But I understand we couldn't keep our end up on the bargain. But you know what? That was prime time worthy. Sorry, now they got that off my chest. Murph, Mosh, and let's also salute Capo Q. How you guys doing? Just want to say, what a hell of a game. Man, Garyon Conley, I'm going to say it, has got to be our MVP for this year. That guy is just straight balling out. It's not, all right, let's get to this. All the hoopla and bullshit about, the Raiders are done, the team's quitting on us. You know what? 16-0 and over 16, this team is playing their asses off. And it's amazing, and I love it. Just to see the fire in everybody, it's absolutely beautiful. I heard the Fox commentator say, watch out, because Carr and Gruden are now on the same page, and good Lord, that gives me goosebumps. All right, just want to get your opinion on the secondary once again, Murph, and Raider Nation, from the womb to the tomb, great things are on the horizon. Raider out.
All right, great call there. Yeah, man, Garyon Conley gets, I've said this probably 5 times now, but I'll say it one more time. His numbers, according to Pro Football Focus, are only matched by like what Nnamdi did. Like he is doing so well, and I don't even have my little cheat sheet that I normally have in front of me here to give you exact specifics on the numbers. But trust me, and you can find them yourself. He's proving himself to be a number one corner. The idea of the lockdown corner in today's NFL really doesn't play like it did once upon a time. The idea of like when it was Deion Sanders and those guys, that idea of the lockdown corner really isn't as applicable. But he is definitely cornerback number one. He's definitely locking people down. When you hold Antonio Brown, who's one of the best wide receivers in football, who torched us for 180 some odd yards last time we played him, and you hold him to 60 yards, that's a quiet day for him. And so definitely commend Garyon Conley. Definitely commend Carl Joseph. Something clicked with him. This was another guy we thought potentially could be on his way out. Something clicked with him. The coaches clicked with him. And, the disrespect that Ben Roethlisberger has for him, and frankly, his height, trying to fire the ball over the top of his head. I wish Carl Joseph would have come up with that pick, but the idea that he was right on the ball and that he played it, in a way where he should have got to Ben. The secondary is fully coming around. A little let down by Melvin. I don't think that we're going to see Rashawn Melvin next year, and we were big fans of his
huge
in this offseason. I feel like it's going to be Worley. Like I feel like we're going to get Worley and Conley. And so, anyways, so kudos to Reggie. I wanted to say one last thing I forgot to mention. I want to say one last thing. I'll go on the record about Reggie. Reggie was the guy that drafted Garyon Conley. I got a lot of respect for Reggie. Reggie brought us out of salary cap hell that Al unfortunately left us in when he passed. We were laden with bad contracts, and Reggie bit the bullet, didn't have his ego invested. He was willing to put the win and loss column aside in order to eat crap to get the salary cap and the roster right, and he did that, and he will always, once a Raider, always a Raider. He'll always have my respect for that, and so I'm sad that it didn't work out. I think that they probably made the move by moving on from Reggie, but for what he did for this team, he'll always have respect.
Me too. Reggie's the rebound girlfriend that you really liked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not going to marry you. We're going to marry Mike Holmgren, but
absolutely.
It was nice to date Reggie.
Yeah. Q-Dog says that on the chat room, Q-Dog says that Connolly is channeling his inner Lester Hayes.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Hey, and joining that 21 club, man. I love that.
Absolutely.
Love that. All right, here we go. We got a couple more, Uncle Mosh, and we'll get out of here. Let's hear from our buddy Monster Mash Ken.
Ooh, yeah. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. What a game. Murph, Uncle Mosh, it's Monster Mash Ken. Feeling it, baby. I'm feeling pumped. Anytime we beat the Steelers, I love it. Anyway, I hope your buddy there's, not too sad, upset. Looks like the Steelers are kind of going down the tubes. Anyway, just real quick, great game overall. The referees, what the hell was going on there? There's some horrible, horrible calls, like the one with the quarterback running out of bounds and we taking that shot on him. Like, what are they supposed to do? Come on, get real. The fumble with Carr, yeah, that was a fumble. I'll give him that. But on the opposite end, with that quarterback, fumbling the ball, that was a fumble. What the hell? But that's all right though, because we got that interception and we made do. So you know what? Screw the refs. We're always against the refs. And what the hell is up with all those fans out there? Those Pittsburgh fans with those towels. What the hell? I'm not from Oakland, but I can tell you this much. If I was a season ticket holder, man, I would go to every single game regardless because I'm a fan. And they dropped the ball in that one. So the Raiders versus the fan, that was fans out there. That was another thing we were up against. Derek Carr, man, just wow. We've really just taken the reins of this team and being a general out there, getting all up in an Aitman's face. That's what we need. We need Carr to hold people accountable. Like, you know what? I need you to go this way, not that way. Don't do what you want. Do what I tell you to do, and we're going to win. Another cool play, I don't know if it went unnoticed, but he threw that shot down in the fourth quarter. I think it was to Seth Roberts, and he hurried the line. He hurried him to the line and hit the next play because that ball moved. I guarantee you, if it would have been challenged, we would have lost that play. But that was just smart play by Carr, like get the ball going, get this play in. That was pretty boss. And then Ben Roethlisberger going out. I think, you know what, you have to win that game with Roethlisberger and Connor out. Conley Island, wow. Just shutting down AB. Who else can do that? That was just awesome. Loved it. Loved the game. I'm going to go into work happy, especially because New England lost. My boss is a Pacers fan. Screw the Patriots. Screw Pittsburgh. And screw all those other fans that didn't show up and represent our team. Raider Nation for life. Peace.
All right, Uncle Mosh. Mondays with Mikey Murph, I kind of went in a little bit on that whole concept, so I won't do it again. And I think I've already pissed off people of Oakland enough tonight in my earlier rant, so I'm going to leave that one alone. But I do want to touch on the Carr, really his emergence as a leader this year. This is when anybody can be a leader when things are going good, right? It's your character, really part of your character gets defined when things are tough. Like, what do you do when things are tough? What do you do when things are, when you're faced with challenges? How do you respond to that? And I think that Carr has responded very well. And there was another play in that game too that Ken didn't mention because all the ones that he mentioned were great. But there was also the one when Feliciano got hurt.
Yep.
And who went out there to carry him off the field, Uncle Mosh?
Yeah, man.
His quarterback, Derek Carr. I don't see Phillip or that other guy.
Yeah.
I don't see Kermit the Frog in Kansas City. I don't see even Tommy Boy. I don't see a lot of high-profile quarterbacks carry their offensive linemen off the field.
Right.
Like, if you don't think Derek Carr is a leader and you don't think that the rest of the team doesn't view him as
they
such. They
noticed that too.
Yeah. You know what I mean? That was a big deal. That was a definite big deal. All right, you want to introduce the last call?
Yeah, man. And so our last call coming up is our capo, the Q-Dog, the one and only.
Greetings, it's your capo and Q-Dog Raider coming to you back on the east side. Murph, Sonny, Uncle Mosh, Little Murph, Nation. Hey, look, respect goes out to Mojo Raider. I said that Mojo Raider, my man, 40 grand for being an excellent host during the tailgating event. I tell you what, man, to link up with him, his family, to meet his wife, it was just, really good, man. It really puts the F in family, man. So, Raider Nation forever, man. Kudos to RFR. Respect to Gorilla Rilla for the photo op. Love that. Man, I tower over that dude, man. But you know what? Hey, he's a Raider, man. Could put a little fertilizer and water on him. Let's make him grow. Got a chance to meet the Violator, Captain Jack. Hey, star-studded event. Even saw Ronnie no, hold on. Let me back up. Don't want to say that too soon. Even saw Franco Harris. I saw the statue of him, with the fake immaculate reception, a foot off the ground in the Pittsburgh International Airport. Then I saw him for real. Hey, man, he's a little bit taller than I thought, man. So, I gave him a little bit of room and respect, man. But you know what? With an eye to the draft, I got to go ahead and bang the drum that I've been banging for weeks and weeks and weeks. Hey, man, Josh Allen. Look, man, he's racking up the awards, man. And we're winning games and, he's racking up awards, man. I don't think the stars are going to align, man. We got to get this guy. This guy can pass cover. He can pass rush. He can defend the run. Let's go ahead and go over what he's won, man. Okay, I'm going to call the roll right quick. Ronnie Lott Impact Trophy Award for National Defensive Player of the Year. Chuck Bednarik Award, National Defensive Player of the Year. Bronco Nagurski Award for the National Defensive Player of the Year. SEC Defensive Player of the Year, First Team All-SEC, First Team All-American. That's in the SI, the Athletic Pro Football Focus, AP, FWA8, CBS, Sporting News, ESPN, and he's a finalist for the Walter Camp and the Buckets Awards for the linebacker and defensive end of the year. Hey, look, man, we got to do this. And before I sign off, man, beating the mustard and black-clad Steelers was just, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm gonna bite a little bit. It was like Jesus driving a monster truck through a ring of fire. Respect goes out to my nephew, B-Dog. Hey, love Blacklist Silver. Great experience. Raiders forever. We own the Steelers. Holla. Root.
Great job as usual. I love the respect there to B-Dog. And we have F-Dog now, so we got three, right?
We got all the dogs,
but the original is Q-Dog though, and he's one of the best. Thank you, Q-Dog, of course, for the great call. And yeah, you know what? Let me say this. I don't work against Q-Dog very often, but I'm gonna say this. I'm going to temper my expectation on Josh Allen a little bit because I agree with everything you just said. I don't want to be let down when the guy goes number 2 overall and we don't get him. You know what I mean? Like, he is amazing. And pass rush is such a necessity. And, of course, and we'll see how the draft dynamics work out. And teams are going to need quarterbacks. And someone's going to do stupid and want to come up and jump up ahead of us. And if there's an opportunity for us to trade back, I'm going to be all about it because, as we've said numerous times, teams are built around cores, not around single players. So if we can, acquire more picks and trade back, then I'm all about that. And if we do, we won't be in the running for a guy like Josh Allen. So I'm with you, Q-Dog. It would be nice, but as of right now, I'm going to kind of temper expectations. And again, mad respect to you and Mojo and the rest of you all out there and all the correspondents for the game. That was top notch. That was some great stuff. And we're flattered you would think of us.
Yeah. No kidding. So Q-Dog being a capo, it's got its drawbacks. So Q-Dog, because he's a capo, part of what elevated him to capo was his many Sizzler awards. So Q-Dog, because he always sizzles, can't quite get the Sizzler award. Can't win the Sizzler award anymore. But he gets mad respect in other realms. So tonight's
Sizzler.
Sizzler award goes to Florida Raider.
Nice job.
So Florida Raider came in with an early Christmas present And he talked about a lot of stuff, man. He gave a shout out to his capo, Q-Dog. He brought up how well we did. He even said Picasso couldn't have painted a prettier picture. Well, if you know Picasso's work, ain't nothing pretty about it. But that's not the point. He had a great line, man. Stand tall, stand proud, bro. You know, we're silver and black. Stand tall, stand proud.
Did he say Black Monday with silver clouds?
Black Monday with silver clouds. I loved it.
Great job. So great job, Florida Raider. And you get our respect and congratulations on the Sizzler Award.
We are Metallica, and we are here for your Oakland Raiders!
You know why we are here, and we ain't playing around today.
From The Walking Dead to errant Jedi Knights, Raiders fans are a rogues gallery.
Uncle Mosh, we are at the 2-hour mark as usual, and that's without even accounting for the interview with Andrea Villapiano. So let's go ahead and get out of here. But first and foremost, thank you to her for joining us here on Raiders Fan Radio. Thank you to Kimberly Veckerlov, who I will have that interview posted up for you all separately to be able to check that out. Thank you to all of our callers tonight. You guys rock. Thank you for all the support that you give Raiders Fan Radio and all of the Murph's Fan Cave shows, which is the Fan Club Blitz with Splatterhead and Fitz. That is also Mondays with Mikey and Murph. So appreciate all the support you give our channel, and also the subscribe. So please do that. Please subscribe to us here on YouTube and anywhere that you find your podcast. Please subscribe to it. And then thank you to all of the calls. Those were great callers tonight. And of course, the one and only Uncle Mosh. Thank you, Uncle Mosh. Appreciate you working through playing injured those past couple weeks, and glad to have you back at full strength. I could tell. I could feel the fire coming off your Uncle Mosh had some sizzles tonight.
I had a lot I had to say that I've been bottling up for the last couple of weeks. Yeah.
Good deal. Well, anyways, thank you again for everybody checking us out. Uncle Mosh is with tagline, and let's go and get out of here.
Stand tall, stand proud. We are the silver and black, and never forget what happens in Vegas started in Oakland.
Ooh, yeah. Hell yeah, baby! Woo!
I love it.
I just want to say, damn, that game should have been on prime time.
Love it. What a game.
But you know what? That was prime time worthy.